Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Resident Evil. Activate the Magneto gene at the start. Chapter 21. Bang. Before the creeper could understand what was happening, the axe on the ground flew up and hit the creeper's chin from the bottom up. The terrifying force directly smashed the crawler upside down and smashed it on the wall behind it, smashing the steel-built wall to dent. What's going on? Where is this? What happened? Chu Feng looked at the unfamiliar surroundings with a puzzled look on his face. He remembered that he fainted in the maintenance tunnel, and when he woke up, he saw an ugly monster pounce on Alice. Chu Feng directly exploded Magneto's genetic ability, and used the magnetic field to control the metal to decisively smash the fool into the air. This is time to ask what happened. Chu Feng, Chu Feng, Chu Feng. Ryan, Chad, and Matt exclaimed with joy when they saw Chu Feng. They never thought that when they were at their most dangerous, Chu Feng would suddenly wake up and blow the crawler away. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. With Chu Feng around, this monster is not invincible. Chu Feng, you finally woke up and thought I would never see you again. Alice did not expect that when she was about to die, Chu Feng would suddenly wake up and save her. Excited, he couldn't hold back and threw himself directly on Chu Feng. She was really happy to see Chu Feng recover. In her opinion, hugging someone is nothing. But it was enough for Chu Feng. A Valkyrie goddess, with explosive strength, beautiful appearance, and exotic style, hugged him. Is this the plan for Shangda and Shang-Er to suffocate him to death? Cough cough. Matt, Ryan and Chad coughed a few times with embarrassed expressions on their faces. Only then did Alice react, realizing that she had lost her temper, and released Chu Feng. Alice didn't know why she hugged Chu Feng. Her cheeks were hot, and she rarely showed the attitude of a little woman. However, she deserves to be a qualified agent. Her complexion quickly returned to normal, and she said, "What happened to you? You suddenly fainted." Call. Chu Feng felt dizzy, but at least he was finally breathing air. Was trying to explain. Roar. The flying crawler couldn't stand it any longer, and roared angrily at Chu Feng. Its smashed chin has completely healed at some point, as if it had never suffered any injuries. That recovery ability makes everyone's scalp numb. Mumbling, not very good. This monster seems to have the ability to recover. It can blast the tempered glass and restore it super strong. This monster is too scary. I wonder if Chu Feng can handle it. Ryan, Chad, and Matt didn't expect that the monster's injury could recover in a blink of an eye. This resilience, they are unheard of, unseen. In this way, a monster that can be hit, carried, and has super resilience, it is estimated that it can't be killed with a gun. Everyone who was full of confidence in Chu Feng had to doubt whether Chu Feng could kill this monster at this moment. You all stand back and leave this to me. Chu Feng looked at the terrifying crawler and stepped out without fear, standing in front of everyone. He has successfully advanced to the second level, and he has stronger control over metal. He also wants to know who is more powerful than the creeper. Be careful. Alice obediently stepped back and warned. Chu Feng nodded silently, his eyes never leaving the creeper. The horror of the creeper is the final boss in Resident Evil 1. Even the original plot was killed by using the power of the train, which made him have to be cautious. Giggle. The crawler's body vibrated, facing Chu Feng, constantly adjusting its position. It seemed that it also understood that the humans in front of him were not easy to mess with. It has no vision and relies entirely on keen hearing to hunt and kill. Walking, running, and even breathing and heartbeats cannot escape its ears. So as long as Chu Feng's heartbeat doesn't stop, it can accurately control Chu Feng's position even if it doesn't look at it, and it is trying to find the flaw in Chu Feng. Chu Feng knew that there was not much time left for them, so he did not hesitate. Magneto's magnetic field vibrated and directly controlled the metal equipment in the air to attack the creepers. Shish! A large number of experimental equipment burst out like bullets and shot at the creepers. The crawler turned over and crawled on the wall at a high speed. The speed was no slower than that on the ground, or even faster, leaving a trail of afterimages on the wall. Creepers cannot walk upright, but can climb upside down on walls and even roofs with powerful limbs and claws. Coupled with the super powerful bouncing and fast action speed, it is difficult to hit them with burst fire weapons, not to mention that the equipment controlled by Chu Feng is not as fast as bullets. A large number of experimental metal equipment kept hitting the wall, but they missed it. When it climbed to the ceiling, the experimental equipment suspended around Chufeng was also used up. Seeing that the opportunity had come, the creeper stepped on the ceiling with his feet, jumped suddenly, and rushed towards Chufeng. The speed and bouncing of the creeper were already amazing, but with the help of the ceiling, the speed of the explosion was even faster, as if a cannonball blasted towards Chufeng. Humph! Chufeng had long known that creepers were very strong in climbing and jumping, and he didn't expect those small metal parts to hit creepers. He grabbed the railing directly in front of him and lifted it. The metal railing suddenly bent upwards, stabbing the creeper in the air. The creeper didn't expect Chufeng to have this trick. He wanted to dodge, but he couldn't dodge in the air at all, and was directly stabbed. Woo! The creeper wailed a few times, twisted his body, and wanted to retreat from the iron railing. Chufeng's thoughts moved, and the iron railing was bent directly, not giving it a chance to exit. The crawler's arm shook, its nails soared, and it swung down against the iron railing. Whispering sound. The iron railing was cut into 2 sections. Boom! The creeper landed, turned over and bounced, and charged towards Chufeng again. Do you think it's okay to cut off the iron railings? Naive. Chufeng caught the rushing crawler, but the rushing crawler stopped and his body levitated. For Chufeng, let him control the creeper, but there is no problem in controlling the metal on the creeper's body. Controlling the metal to levitate is equivalent to controlling the creeper. Bang! The creeper didn't hesitate, opened his mouth suddenly, and the barbed tongue shot out, stabbing Chufeng's face. The crawler's tongue was barbed, and if he was hit, Chufeng would definitely be injured and disfigured. However, Chufeng had already taken precautions and rolled away directly on the spot. Boom! The power of the tongue thorn was amazing, and the granite floor tiles were directly smashed. Chufeng didn't hesitate to grab the axe on the ground in his hand, and stab the tongue with an axe. Ow! The creeper let out a miserable howl, and its tongue thorn was nailed to the floor by Chufeng's axe. The crawler was still struggling. With the thought of Chufeng, the iron railing on the crawler turned into a metal rope, entangling the crawler. Die! Chufeng clenched his fist suddenly. Bang! The metal rope on the crawler shrank suddenly, and the terrifying crawler was instantly divided into several segments. Ding! Congratulations to the host for killing an ordinary crawler, reward 50 points. With the death of the creeper, a system prompt sounded in Chufeng's mind. 50 points will be credited directly to the account. This is the maximum points that Chufeng can get for a single kill. An ordinary zombie is worth 10 points. A zombie dog is 20 points. And now a creeper is directly 50 points. You can imagine how strong this crawler is. If it encounters Chufeng before the advanced level, Chufeng is naturally in danger, but unfortunately, it encounters Chufeng who is successful at the second level of advanced level. Quiet, very quiet, very quiet, extremely quiet. For a moment, the originally noisy laboratory was instantly quiet. Everyone opened their mouths wide, their eyes widened, and looked at Chufeng in disbelief. The battle between Chufeng and the creeper is a long story. In fact, the two sides fought extremely fast. It only took a few breaths before and after the battle, and the battle was over. From Chufeng's point of view, he had a relationship with the creeper. But in the eyes of others, they could only see the surrounding metal tools madly shooting at the creeper, and the creeper turned into an afterimage and moved on the wall, suddenly pounced on Chufeng. Then he was inexplicably pierced by the handrail of the stairs, and the crawler's tongue thorn was ejected, pinned by Chufeng's axe, and his backhand rose into the air and pinched it. All this happened so fast that the creeper was almost dead, but everyone still hadn't recovered. After a long time, an uproar broke out. Ha! Incredible! The creeper is dead, dead. That's a terrifying monster that can even blast tempered glass and heal its wounds within a few minutes. Just like that, you died with a bang. What just happened? Even if the surrounding experimental equipment will attack the creeper, how can even the railing be attacked with life? Crazy, just crazy. Quote, pinch me, oops, it hurts so much, this is not a dream, Chufeng can really control metal. Alice, Ryan, Chad, and Matt were all dumbfounded, looking at Chufeng with shock and disbelief. That is a creeper who can even smash tempered bulletproof glass. He even killed Chufeng in a single meeting. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, it would be hard to believe it was true. Those experimental tools that attacked the creepers were controlled by Chufeng, and they recognized it. After all, they have all seen the dagger controlled by Chu Feng in the maintenance channel. However, that is only limited to the movement of the metal. In essence, the metal is not deformed, and it is not an exaggeration to say that it is a simple translation. But the ability that Chu Feng showed this time was terrifying. It was no longer a simple movement of metal, but more capable of deformation. A seemingly harmless stair handrail turned into a trap in an instant, strangling the creeper to death. Such means, they don't talk about it, they have never heard of it. Chad even thought that he was in a dream and asked Matt to pinch, but Matt was not in the state at all, and subconsciously tried his best to pinch, and Chad burst into tears. Only then was I finally convinced that all this was real, not a dream. Chu Feng really has the ability to control metal, and this ability is not only to control metal movement and attack, but also to deform metal. Strong, simply too strong. I heard before that as an Oriental from an ancient civilization, there are mysterious cultivators who can take things from the sky, turn stones into gold, and control everything. Chu Feng, you are not a cultivator. Quote, Alice looked at Chu Feng, her mouth opened slightly, her eyes shone with dazzling brilliance, and she stared at Chu Feng with excitement. Although Chu Feng has always said that he is an ordinary college student and an ordinary person, none of the things he does are ordinary. Controlling daggers to kill zombies, with amazing marksmanship, controlling other people's bullets, and even stair handrails can become killers. Except for the legendary Oriental cultivator, she couldn't think of anyone like this who could achieve this level. Immortal cultivator, you're wrong, I'm just an ordinary person, and I can't control metal. Chu Feng was taken aback when he heard that Alice thought he was an Oriental cultivator. This ability is your Western mutant gene. Why was he mistaken for a cultivator? Sure enough, culture is very important, and it is easy to make others preconceived. It is necessary to maintain cultural self-confidence. He is really not an immortal cultivator, just an ordinary person who has activated Magneto's genes. He really can't directly control the metal, he just controls the magnetic field to indirectly control the metal. Ordinary people. Alice, Ryan, Chad and Matt all cried when they heard what Chu Feng said. You can even control metal and kill monsters like creepers. Tell us, are you an ordinary person? If you are an ordinary person, what are these so-called special forces, special agents, fake police, and technicians? Is it better than ordinary people? Cough cough. Time is running out, let's get out of here first. Chu Feng knew that the explanation would only get worse and worse, so he simply stopped explaining it. They could be whoever he was. Get out of here first. Although the crawlers are resolved, if they can't leave at the allotted time. The door was locked, and it was difficult to get out again. The Red Queen has locked this place, and we can only leave through the hole opened by the creeper. Seeing that Chu Feng was going to open the door, Alice reminded. This place has been blocked by the Red Queen. Without the password, no one can open the door. Only leave from the direction the creeper came from. Although it will take more time to find a way to leave there, at least it is possible to get out of here. No, we don't have time to find the exit again, let's go directly to the door. Chu Feng said, pressing his hand directly on the metal door armrest. Magneto's gene is activated, the magnetic field is deployed, and the magnetic field is directly used to control the metal inside the door lock. It can't be opened, that's the password, the door. Seeing that Chu Feng insisted on going through the door, Chad reminded again. However, before he could finish speaking, he heard a click, and the metal door that required a password to open was directly opened by Chu Feng. Made Chad look silly. That's a password door. The door locked by the Red Queen. You just turn it off so easily. It's so easy to open, what's the use of a technician like him? Quick stop, you are doing wrong operations. The laboratory door opened, and across the aisle, a display screen showed the face of the Red Queen, warning everyone. She never thought that the door that requires a password to open was not cracked by the technician Chad, but was physically cracked by Chu Feng, and issued an anxious reminder. She can't let people go, that's what she was created to do. Chad, where's the controller? Chu Feng completely ignored the Red Queen and said to Chad behind him. It's here. Upon hearing this, Chad handed the controller directly to Chu Feng. Goodbye. Chu Feng and the Red Queen have no grudges, but she wants to block them. If it wasn't for his successful Second Order awakening, they would all be dead. Therefore, there is nothing to hesitate about the hidden boss, Chu Feng, the Red Queen, and decisively destroy her. After Chu Feng finished speaking, he pressed the button directly. Crack. The button is pressed, and in the main room, on a display, the progress bar begins to read. 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, 0.100%. You will all die here. The Red Queen uttered the final curse, and the main board emitted a burst of blue smoke and closed with a bang. Should have burned this watch, ahem. Ren was very angry with the Red Queen, and the fool almost forced her to be beheaded. I was very happy to see the Red Queen being shut down, and scolded directly. However, because she had been infected with the virus for too long, her body became weaker and weaker, and she began to cough. Let's go. Chu Feng did not hesitate, and directly controlled the deformation of a steel pipe, turned it into a long sword as a backup, and took the lead to leave. Alice supported Ryan, Matt supported Chad and followed. With Chu Feng leading the way, they were not at all worried about encountering zombies. In fact, they don't need to worry about the zombies. The Red Queen has already driven the zombies into the maintenance channel. Now that the Red Queen has burned the motherboard again, they don't need to worry about zombies anymore. On the way, everyone can be said to be unimpeded, and not a single zombie has been encountered. This made everyone feel a lot better. Of course, what they didn't know was that in Restaurant B, the door locks on the boxes kept falling, and a large number of boxes burst open. The Red Queen felt bad when she saw Chu Feng coming out. She couldn't let anyone leave the hive. Therefore, she chose to release all the creepers. Not long after, everyone came to the train. You guys start the train, I'll find the antidote. Seeing that time was running out, Chu Feng walked directly to the back of the train. Although he understood that Ryan was already helpless. However, Chad was saved. Everyone nodded and went their separate ways. Chu Feng came to the back of the train and saw a metal box. Chu Feng took off the box and opened it. You can see the T-virus and detoxification serum inside. Activate the power. We're leaving. Chad's voice came from the front of the car. Just come. Chu Feng was in a good mood, closed the box and walked to the carriage. It's finally done, they can finally get out of here. Not easy. The whole body is sticky, and when he is outside, he must take a hot bath. Boom. The train started and slowly drove into the passage. Until this moment, everyone felt at ease. Of course, Chu Feng doesn't understand things like injections. But Alice knew it very well. After all, she was a security guard and a special agent, and she used to be a special force. She couldn't be bothered about this. Taking out the green antidote, Alice directly found Ryan's blood vessel and injected it. Chu Feng, who was on the side, knew that this Ren was poisoned for too long, and it was very likely that he would not be saved. It would be useless to hit him, but he did not stop him. No one has the right to deprive others of their hope for life, especially teammates. I don't want to be a zombie, wandering around without a soul. Ren's dark circles were obvious, her consciousness had begun to blur, and she murmured. You will not. Seeing this, Alice reassured her. When that moment comes, you know what to do. Ren is also understanding. Although Chu Feng didn't say it, how could she not know how bad her own body is? No one can feel her state better than her. She also felt that the probability of her survival was slim, but she was unwilling to give up the hope of life. If she does become a zombie, she wants Alice to end her. She didn't want to attack her comrades when she was unconscious. She said so, almost already arranging the funeral. Hey, nobody's going to die, it's all right. Alice smiled and comforted when she saw Ryan say such depressing words. Matt on the other side also gave Chad an antidote. Chad's painful expression gradually eased, and his body became less rigid. The blood vessels on the face are also slowly disappearing. Obviously, the infection time of this Chad is shorter, and the effect of the drug is very fast. Boom. The train continued to move at high speed, and everything seemed very peaceful. In a short time, Chad had recovered and could get up to drive the train. However, Ryan's situation still did not seem to improve. Take it. Ren was a little confused, took off his watch and gave it to Alice. There was still a countdown on the watch, which was the last time the gates closed. If she fails, this can remind them at any time and help the rest. After Ren handed the watch to Alice, her head slowly lowered. Lay. Alice felt that something was wrong and called softly. However, Ren had no response and seemed to be dead. Everyone was nervous. Alice watched Ryan lose his response, with sadness in her eyes, and slowly picked up the axe beside her. Although she really didn't want to do it, this was Ryan's last wish. Alice slowly raised the axe. She really didn't want to kill Ryan, but she couldn't watch Ryan turn into a zombie. Woo! Ren, who was originally motionless, suddenly took a deep breath and grabbed the axe. Everyone was startled, thinking that her corpse had changed. I'm not dead yet. Ryan looked at Alice and smiled. Call. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief when they saw this. This woman, what an idiot, even making such a joke at this time. Boom. Just when everyone let out a sigh of relief, a sharp claw broke through the carriage and grabbed it in. With this grab, Matt, who was leaning against the wall of the carriage, was just scratched. Ah! Matt screamed and hurriedly dodged, but his arm was scratched with several deep wounds. Blood kept pouring out of his wounds. What happened next? Chad asked with a puzzled look when he heard the screams coming from behind. Boom, boom, boom. At the same time, the surroundings of the carriage were constantly being grabbed by sharp claws, as if there were many crawlers outside the carriage. It doesn't make sense. I killed the creeper, why is there still? Chu Feng looked puzzled, not knowing which link went wrong. He has seen Resident Evil, and there is only one creeper. And this crawler has already been killed by him, theoretically it is impossible to have it. But he neglected one thing, and that was himself. If he didn't show up, the Red Queen would just have to release a creeper to get rid of the crowd. But his appearance, killing the creeper, made the Red Queen decide to release the other creepers at the last moment. Take us out quickly. Seeing the creepers keep attacking around the train, Matt shouted loudly. The sooner we get off the rails. Chad can't do it either. This is already the fastest. If it goes further, I am afraid that the monster will not be thrown away, and the train will be finished first. Boom. At this time, the rear door was slammed wildly. Seeing this, Matt rushed over and closed the compartment door. Boom. However, as soon as the door was locked, it was blasted open. Matt didn't expect the monster to be so terrifying that it could even smash the iron door and fall to the ground. Roar. The crawler roared and jumped directly at Matt. The power of this crawler is so great that it can even knock open the door of the carriage. It's over. Matt wailed, and with the speed of the attack, he couldn't dodge at all, he could only close his eyes and wait to die. Buzz. At this time, Chu Feng took action. With a thought, the car door on the ground bounced up to block the creeper. Bang bang bang. The crawler's claws suddenly skyrocketed and attacked the city gate frantically. The door made of stainless steel was directly caught with holes. Humph. Chu Feng snorted coldly, pushed and grabbed with his palm. Under the action of electromagnetic force, the door seemed to have life, directly wrapping the creeper. Die. Chu Feng clenched his fist, the electromagnetic force vibrated, and the car door dented inward instantly. Puff. Blood splashed, and the creeper was instantly crushed by Chu Feng. Ding. Congratulations to the host for killing an ordinary crawler, reward 50 points. As Chu Feng killed the creeper, 50 points were instantly credited to the account. With a wave of Chu Feng's hand, the electromagnetic vibration wrapped the dead crawler and flew out. Thanks. Seeing the creeper die, Matt said with a terrified expression on his face. Chu Feng nodded. Bang, bang, hoo-hoo. However, before they could be happy, the carriage vibrated, and two crawlers appeared directly behind the carriage and rushed in along the door. That's impossible. Matt watched as two crawlers rushed in again, almost not scared to death. Don't wait to play like this. Is the world crazy? When did crawlers turn out to be worthless? Even there. Chu Feng frowned as he looked at the two creepers who rushed up. He really entered the creeper's nest today, and there were so many. Although I don't understand, Chu Feng is not easy to bully. Chu Feng waved at the bundle of steel pipes in the middle of the carriage. Whizzing. The two sharp steel pipes were suddenly controlled by Chu Feng and flew out, shooting directly at the two creepers. If it's in an open place, he's really not good at killing these creepers, but it's easier to deal with creepers coming in from the back door of the carriage. The door is not big, and the crawlers jumping in means they have no room to hide. PFF'd. The two crawlers were directly headshot by the steel pipe and flew out. Ding! Congratulations to the host for killing 2 ordinary creepers, reward 100 points. As the 2 crawlers were killed, another 100 points were received, one step closer to the 10,000 points of the 3rd order upgrade. Boom, boom, boom. Before everyone was happy, there were several loud noises from the top of the carriage, as if something hit. Immediately above the carriage, a large amount of metal was grabbed away, and the crawlers were biting and scratching the roof frantically, vowing to lift the roof of the train and rush into the carriage to eat everyone up. Drink. Alice picked up a steel pipe and stabbed it at the open steel gap. Ow! There was a howl of a beast from outside the car. Apparently the creeper had been stabbed by Alice. It's just a pity that at this time, Alice has not yet merged with the T-virus, and has neither strong power nor super power of thought. This stab only stabbed the crawler, and did no harm to it at all. The creeper bit and pulled at the steel pipe, and Alice was pulled towards the gap, almost being pulled out. Chu Feng reacted quickly and hugged Alice's waist suddenly, so as not to put Alice in danger. Burst. When Chu Feng's electromagnetic force moved, the steel pipe in the crawler's mouth burst open, forming a large number of spikes, which instantly shot the crawler's head. Another system prompt sounded in Chu Feng's mind. Ding! Congratulations to the host for killing an ordinary crawler, reward 50 points. He hugged my waist. Alice was stunned, her beautiful eyes widened in disbelief. She didn't expect that Chu Feng would take the initiative to hug her. This made her a little lost. She didn't know what was going on, but there was a sweetness in her heart, and she hoped that Chu Feng would continue to hold her. Are you okay? Chu Feng didn't know Alice's thoughts. Seeing Alice in a trance, he asked in doubt. No, it's fine, thank you. Alice thought that she had just had that strange thought. Her cheeks were hot, she shook her head, tried her best to get rid of the thoughts just now, and returned to calm. Stab, stab. At this time, the roof was lifted one by one at almost the same time, revealing a large number of crawlers, who frantically squeezed into the compartment. How to do? Now even Alice panicked. They all know that Chu Feng is very powerful. If these crawlers keep rushing in from the door, then Chu Feng will be able to hold on to the advantage of the terrain. But these crawlers seemed to know that the door was dangerous, and even attacked the roof together. Once the roof of the car is lifted, a large number of crawlers come in. No matter how powerful Chu Feng is, he can't stop so many crawlers. It's all right, it's me. Chu Feng put down Alice and closed his eyes directly. In an instant, the magnetic field around Chu Feng unfolded, and the electromagnetic force covered the entire carriage. Boom! The whole car shook violently. Drink! Chu Feng roared, the blue veins burst out on his forehead, the Magneto gene in his body vibrated wildly, and the surrounding electromagnetic force was compressed wildly. Kakaka! Around the carriage, a large number of cracks continued to spread, and they actually surrounded the entire carriage. In the end, the entire side of the car and the roof were removed directly and suspended above the crowd. What's the matter? Why does the carriage vibrate so much? I don't know. Look, there's a crack in the carriage. Mumble. Car, the carriage is flying. He doesn't want to throw the whole carriage away. Impossible. The whole body of this carriage is made of steel. Even if more than 10 creepers join forces to open it, it will take a long time. How could Chu Feng do it alone? Feeling the vibration of the whole car, watching the steel plates around the car keep cracking, Alice, Ryan, Chad and Matt were all dumbfounded. One by one, their mouths widened, their eyes widened, and their faces were in disbelief. You know, this is a carriage. It's all made of steel plates, and even if the crawler shoots together, it's a carriage that can't be broken open in a short time. Could it be that Chu Feng intends to dismantle this carriage and throw it away? How can that be? This is not over yet. The whole carriage turned out to be like an upside-down flower and began to roll up. Chu Feng is going to throw them out, but intends to catch them all. Ho ho ho. The crawlers seemed to know the danger too, and the attacks were more violent. Tear, tear. The shattered carriages were opened one by the crawler, and they rushed straight down. Chu Feng, be careful. Alice cried out in surprise when she saw a large number of crawlers rushing down. But the next moment, she was stunned. Because she found that the gaps that originally accommodated the crawlers had shrunk when the crawlers rushed out, and the necks of the crawlers who wanted to rush down were stuck. Ah! The veins on Chu Feng's forehead burst out, and the terrifying electromagnetic force vibrated wildly. This is not over yet. The steel flowers are madly gathered together to form a cage, enclosing all the creepers in it. Bang! These crawlers felt the great threat of death. Seeing that they couldn't break free, they spit out their tongue stabs directly at Chu Feng, trying to kill Chu Feng. Be careful. Seeing this, Alice did not hesitate, grabbed a steel pipe and rushed up, stopping in front of Chu Feng. Boom! Alice swung the pole and slapped the thorn away. Now Chu Feng is at a critical moment. If he is attacked and let these monsters run out, then they will all die. Bang bang bang. Those trapped crawlers ejected tongue stabs at Chu Feng. Alice saw a lot of tongues pierced through the sky, and her eyes were a little desperate. She can't stop so much by herself. Bang bang bang. At this time, Matt also came to help, constantly waving the pole, and resisting the attacks of those tongue stabs with Alice. It's just that even if Alice and Matt worked together, it was still difficult to resist so many tongue stabs. Chad put the automatic transmission on the train directly, and wanted to come over to help, but a familiar figure stopped in front of him. Bud. Chad looked at Ren, who was standing in front of him, and called. Kakaka. Ren didn't respond. She twisted her neck and made a clicking sound. Don't do that, Ray, it's me. Seeing Ryan's appearance, Chad was heartbroken. Although he didn't want to admit it, his former comrade in arms should have been completely zombied. He kept calling, hoping she would still have a shred of reason. Because he really didn't want to kill his comrades. Roar! Ren opened his eyes, his pupils were gray and white, and he couldn't see any intelligence at all. Ryan ignored Chad's call at all, opened his bloody mouth, and threw himself directly at Chad. Ren was originally a special soldier. After turning into a zombie, he was stronger than ordinary people. Chad couldn't stop it at all and was thrown directly to the ground. Roar! Ryan bit directly at Chad's neck. If this one bites, Chad will surely die. Panicked, Chad stuck his arm around Ryan's neck, separating her. But Ryan's strength is too great. Although Chad is also a special forces soldier, he belongs to the technical arms and is not strong enough. Ren's yellowed teeth kept coming closer. Chad, what are you doing? Come and help. We're running out of support. Alice and Matt on the other side stopped in front of Chu Feng, constantly fighting with those tongue thorns, and they couldn't support it anymore. However, Chad's support was delayed, and if they continued, they would all die here. Chad looked at Alice and Matt who were in danger, and then looked at his former comrade in arms who wanted to eat him. Chad's eyes were tangled. He really didn't want to kill Ryan, but if he didn't kill Ryan, he wouldn't be able to support Alice and the others. Without his help, Alice and Matt couldn't support themselves. Chu Feng's ability to display will be affected. Once Chu Feng fails, more than a dozen creepers get out of trouble, and none of them want to live. At this time, his life was no longer his own. Is everyone's life. I'm sorry, Ray. Tears welled up in Chad's eyes, and he grabbed a steel pipe next to him and stabbed Ryan suddenly. Puff. Lane, who was still trying to bite Chad, trembled, her round eyes slowly closed, and her body fell softly. It seemed that at this moment, she was relieved. She doesn't blame Chad because she said she doesn't want to hurt any of her teammates. If she loses her mind, she hopes her comrades will give her the final blow. She doesn't want to be a zombie. I am coming. Chad pulled out the steel pipe and charged towards Chu Feng with tears in his eyes. Form a human flesh wall directly with Alice and Matt, blocking the crawler's tongue-stabbing attack. Even if someone is attacked or injured, they will not escape, and will protect Chu Feng. They only have one thought now, and that is to desperately protect Chu Feng. Ho-ho-ho. The crawler inside was unwilling to die inside, and fought frantically, trying to break free from the steel flower formed by the train. They slammed into the steel flower crazily, and Chu Feng could hardly control the huge force from it. Chu Feng watched everyone desperately protect him, and did not move a single bit when he was injured, and his heart was deeply shaken. At this moment, he is no longer a person, and his life is no longer a person's life. He shoulders the obsession of everyone living. He had to succeed, he had to. Drink. Die to me. Chu Feng raised a huge roar in the sky, his whole body blood was boiling. The terrifying electromagnetic force almost condensed into substance, vibrated wildly, and controlled the flower of steel to madly press inward. In the end, under the explosion of Chu Feng, with a bang, the flower of steel suddenly gathered together directly from a huge cage to form a huge solid fruit. Puff! Blood splattered, and all the crawlers inside were instantly crushed into meat sauce by terrifying power. And the heads of those creepers who stuck their heads out were cut off instantly and fell down. Ding! Congratulations to the host for killing an ordinary crawler, reward 50 points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for killing an ordinary crawler, reward 50 points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for killing an ordinary crawler, reward 50 points. In an instant, a large amount of killing information popped up in Chu Feng's mind, and all of a sudden, Chu Feng gained as many as 650 points. In other words, he just killed 13 crawlers just now. 13 heads. Scary to think about. If it wasn't for him entering the second stage, and everyone desperately helping him, he would not be able to do it at all. With 650 points, plus the 200 points he already had, Chu Feng's points reached an astonishing 850 points. Although it is still far from the advanced third level, this income is definitely extremely rich. Boom! Chu Feng threw the metal meatball directly. The metal meatball smashed into the tunnel, rolled over, and soon disappeared. Call. Looking at the crawler meatball that was gradually moving away, Chu Feng couldn't hold on any longer, sat down and gasped frantically. Magneto's genetic ability is really strong, but because it is so strong, the consumption is also huge. With his current mental strength, he can't control it freely. You will have to practice more in the future. Chu Feng could feel that every time he used his ability, he was very tired. However, after enough rest, his next use will last longer. I believe that after he recovers this time, the next time he uses the same tricks just now, he will definitely not be so tired. Alice was tired, but did not sit down. She looked at Ren, who had died at the front of the car. Her eyes were complicated and a little sad. After all, she still can't support it. Just as Alice was mourning, a large warm hand was placed on her shoulder. Chu Feng looked at Alice without saying anything, and gave Alice a comforting hug directly. Chu Feng knows that at this time, no matter what he says, it's just stimulation and hurt. Sometimes, a comforting hug is more effective than 10,000 words of comfort. Feeling Chu Feng's warm embrace, Alice felt relief in her heart, the sadness on her face gradually disappeared, and she returned to the original strong and resolute Alice. Squeak! The train brakes sounded, the speed gradually slowed down, and after a while, it stopped at the platform. Time is running out, let's go. Chad parked the car, left the cab, got on the platform, and told everyone. Take the box and let's go. Knowing that there is no time left, Chu Feng didn't say much, and took the lead to step out. Alice, holding the box, followed. Matt followed Chad and left the platform. Everyone's footsteps were very fast, trotting all the way out. Boom! As they passed through the gate, time finally came to 0, and the huge blast door began to slowly descend. Such explosion-proof door bombs are very difficult to detonate. Once closed, there is almost no possibility of going out. This is the Hive's last line of defense. Watching the door slowly fall, everyone let out a sigh of relief, feeling complicated. There is sadness for the deceased and joy for finally surviving. The two extreme emotions are intertwined, and it is difficult to say whether they are happy or unhappy. Come on, the real danger has just begun. Chu Feng saw that Alice kept watching the door fall, and opened the door while opening the mouth. For the zombie crisis, it is easy to solve, just kill it. But for human danger, it is much more troublesome. Chu Feng, what do you mean by that? What do you mean it's just the beginning? Alice was stunned when she heard the words, and she chased after her. She didn't understand what Chu Feng meant by saying this. Aren't they out of danger? Why is the danger just beginning? Ah! Chu Feng was about to explain when Matt suddenly fell down with a scream while clutching his arms. His wound kept twisting, and granulation sprouts grew out of the wound. It was the crawler's scratch, and apparently, he was infected. You're infected, you'll be fine, we won't lose you. Seeing this, Alice hurriedly opened the box, took out the medicine, and prepared to inject the antidote for Matt. Boom! However, at this time, the door was directly opened, and a group of people wearing protective clothing and gas masks rushed in. Help! Matt thought it was an ambulance, overjoyed, shouted. However, these people had no intention of helping at all, and rushed up directly. Not only did he not help, but he also pushed Alice away. Start arresting people. What are you doing? Go and help him. Alice was immediately blinded. What happened to these people? Didn't they come to help them? Why stop her from saving Chad? However, there were too many of them, and she couldn't resist at all. He could only helplessly watch Matt being controlled and ready to be taken away. Puff. However, just when those in protective suits thought they could control the scene, a cold light flashed, and a sword tip came out directly from the chest of one of the protective personnel. Forehead. The man turned back and looked at Chu Feng's icy face, dumbfounded. He didn't seem to have thought that these survivors would attack them without hesitation. And the person who attacked turned out to be an Oriental. How do Orientals run their labs? Too bad he will never know. Chu Feng continued to raise his sword, one sword at a time, completely ruthless. He is no longer the simple student who just crossed over. After all the slaughter, his nerves have become extremely firm. No one else knew, but he knew. These are not ambulances at all, but the experimental personnel of the Umbrella Company. They arrest people not to save them, but to experiment with them. In the original plot, Alice was caught by them to inject T-virus and installed chips in her head to transform her, including Matt, who was also made into a monster to kill. Now that he is here, such a thing must not be allowed to happen. So Chu Feng did not hesitate to kill directly. Chu Feng, are you crazy? Chad watched Chu Feng slash all the ambulances with one sword, and was stupid, thinking that Chu Feng was crazy. These people are here to save them, but they don't understand the situation, so they cause misunderstandings. Murdered. The last person did not expect that Chu Feng would be so decisive, and fled in panic. Chu Feng's long sword was thrown directly, passing through the last enemy in an instant. Chu Feng, are you crazy? Why attack the ambulance? Alice also widened her beautiful eyes, looking at Chu Feng in disbelief. It is difficult for her to associate that righteous Chu Feng with the current killing god Chu Feng. Do you really think those are the ambulance men who came to save you? They are all experimenters of the Umbrella Special Program, and they want to arrest us for the experiment. If you don't want him to turn into a monster, quickly inject him. Quote. Chu Feng shook the long sword, shook off the blood on it, and spoke coldly. Alice is not stupid. She heard Chu Feng's explanation, and finally reacted. These people are indeed suspicious. If they came to rescue them, why did they arrest them? After thinking about this, Alice's back was sweating. Fortunately, Chu Feng found it in time, otherwise they would have been captured by now. Quickly pick up the syringe and inject Matt. Sir, there is a problem with the special exit. Outside the house, in a temporary command post not far away, a monitor sitting in front of a computer suddenly stood up and reported. What's up? Kane was stunned when he heard the words, and asked in doubt. He sent so many people over, and it makes no sense that he couldn't catch a few. One of the survivors was an Oriental man. He seemed to see our intentions. He drew his sword and chopped everyone who sent us in. The monitor told the truth. What? Orientals? Cut down our people? Kane was dumbfounded when he heard the words. He was an executive of the Umbrella Company and knew the laboratory very well. When did their company recruit Orientals? As Alice gave Matt an antidote, Matt recovered quickly. It can't be delayed any longer, you have to leave now. Chu Feng knew that the Umbrella Company itself had its own army, and the longer it dragged on here, the worse it would be for them. Although Chu Feng has the ability to kill, he does not want to cause too many killings. If it wasn't for the fear that those researchers would go out and attract soldiers, Chu Feng would not have made such a decisive move just now. Seeing that Matt was all right, he naturally hoped to leave here early. Alice closed the box and nodded. Walk. Chu Feng took the lead and walked quickly towards the door. Alice, Chad and Matt followed Chu Feng. The door has been surrounded by a long sealed passage. Chu Feng and others can only go all the way out along the pipe. Not long after, Chu Feng and others came to the exit. Tear. Chu Feng grabbed the sealing zipper of the exit and pulled it hard. The sealed pipe is opened directly. The strong sunlight shone on everyone's faces, making it difficult for everyone who had been in the dark for a long time to adapt. They finally came out alive. It's really not easy. Kakaka. Before everyone could be happy, a large wave of guns was aimed directly at them. There were a lot of cars parked outside, and a wave of troops hid directly behind the cars and aimed their guns at Chu Feng and the others. How did I forget the camera? Chu Feng saw that the outside was already in full preparation, and then he remembered that there are hidden cameras in the house. What they just did must have been discovered. Put down your weapons, your mission is over. In order to avoid the spread of infection, please cooperate with our inspection. If it is confirmed that you are all right, I will let you go, please don't resist. Kane held a small speaker and shouted to Chu Feng and others. At this moment, he still didn't believe that their secret nemesis plan would be known to Chu Feng and others. In order to obtain in vivo research, he still hopes to capture Chu Feng and them alive. It would be even more perfect if they could fool Chu Feng and the others. How to do? Looking at so many special soldiers and saying that it is for their own good, the ghosts believe it. But it's definitely not easy to leave. You can get as close as possible to me later, grab the car and run. Chu Feng reminded in a low voice. He also understood that there were too many soldiers, and most of them were mercenaries who had been killed. If he has enough rest, he can still fight. But he was fighting so many crawlers one after another, and he was mentally exhausted and should not fight recklessly. Better to be able to grab a military vehicle and leave. Everyone nodded slightly, indicating that they understood. Kane, don't pretend, you just want to use us as a nemesis experiment, do you really think we are stupid? Facing Kane's pretended to persuade him to surrender, Chu Feng didn't believe it at all, and directly pierced his true purpose. What? How could you possibly know? The moment Chu Feng's words came out, Kane's body trembled, his eyes widened, and he looked at Chu Feng's face in shock and disbelief. He didn't understand who this Oriental was, and why Chu Feng knew about this plan that only the top of the umbrella knew. Say it directly. This is impossible. Who is he? Die. Seeing that Kane was shocked by his words, Chu Feng threw the long sword directly at Kane without any hesitation. The long sword turned into a cold glow and stabbed Kane straight. If this sword is stabbed, Kane will surely die. Then Kane came back to his senses, but it was too late to hide. Sir, be careful. A soldier next to Kane responded quickly and blocked directly in front of Kane. Puff! The long sword pierced the soldier's chest directly. It's a pity, almost. Chu Feng didn't expect that there were soldiers who blocked Kane's knife in his sneak attack, and it was impossible to kill him again. Sighed. Fire! Fire me! Kane didn't expect that Chu Feng was deliberately trying to scare him, and wanted to take the opportunity to kill him and behead him, and was scared out of a cold sweat. It was really dangerous just now. If it wasn't for the quick reaction of his subordinates, he would have been killed by now. Under the circumstance that he was killed, Chu Feng and the others could have escaped while taking advantage of the chaos. Without any hesitation, he directly ordered to fire. These people are too dangerous to kill. The big deal is to take their cell clone experiment body. Bang bang bang. Da da da. Kane's order was issued, and the surrounding soldiers did not hesitate to fire at Chu Feng. Bullets spun out of the soldiers, guns as if they didn't want money, and shot them at Chu Feng. In an instant, countless bullets rushed towards him. Under such a terrifying attack, even an elephant can become a plug in an instant, let alone a human being. Under such terrifying firepower, if it is an ordinary person, there is almost nothing to do except close your eyes and wait for death. However, unfortunately, they met Chu Feng, who had the gene of Magneto. Buzz. The Magneto gene in Chu Feng's body was activated, and the electromagnetic force field unfolded, protecting the surroundings. After the densely shot bullets entered Chu Feng's electromagnetic force field, they were directly affected by Chu Feng's electromagnetic force field and shifted. Ding ding ding. At this moment, Chu Feng and others stood there like artifact of human body stroke, surrounded by countless bullets lacing, but none of them could hit them. What? This is impossible. My gun is broken. I clearly aimed at the enemy, why can't it hit? It's not just you. We can't hit either. God, it's impossible. Why? What happened? Could it be that he was blessed by God? God, so many people, so many guns, so many bullets, how many ordinary people can't be hit? It's crazy, it's either I'm crazy, or the world is crazy, it's impossible, absolutely impossible. At this moment, the surrounding mercenaries, security guards or test personnel are all stupid. All of them opened their mouths wide and their eyes widened, looking at Chu Feng with shock and disbelief. They had seen something weird, but it was the first time they had seen something as weird as today. A small army can fire on several ordinary people at the same time, and with this firepower, an elephant can instantly become a hornet's nest. What's the result? Even a single bullet failed to hit Chu Feng. Not to mention Chu Feng, even the people around Chu Feng failed to hit. Countless bullets even drew their silhouettes on the wall behind Chu Feng and others. Collective body strokes. How is this possible? Could it be that Chu Feng and the others are protected by God? Otherwise, how to explain the sudden misalignment of so many people's firearms? Are they crazy? Or is the world crazy? With Chu Feng's cover, everyone quickly grabbed a small military vehicle. Alice and Matt directly overpowered the people in the car and threw them out. Don't let him run away. Where's my bazooka? Kane was shocked by Chu Feng's ability, but because of this, he was even more bound to win for Chu Feng. Seeing that the bullet could not move, he directly ordered the use of the bazooka. Several soldiers hurriedly carried out a box, opened it, one aimed, and one loaded. Bang! The rocket trigger was pulled. A rocket flew directly towards Chu Feng and the others with a hot tail flame. Chu Feng's magnetic field vibrated, and the terrifying electromagnetic force directly affected the rockets that were launched. However, the thrust of this rocket is too great, and the force required to change the orbit is not known to be much more than that of ordinary bullets. So it seems very difficult. Go! Chu Feng shouted angrily. The rocket was finally completely changed when it was half a meter away from the car, rubbing the car and hitting the other side. Boom! A terrifying explosion sounded, shaking the world. Almost broke everyone's eardrums. Boom! A bullet hole was punched directly into the car glass. Obviously, although Chu Feng made the rocket deviate, but the force is not enough, the electromagnetic force that can be controlled is also smaller. Now even bullets can't be fully defended. Everyone hurriedly bowed their heads to avoid. What's the matter? Hasn't the car started yet? Seeing this, Chu Feng called to Matt. Almost. Matt directly pried the ignition wire out and kept rubbing it together, hoping to start a fire. No way, they were unlucky and didn't get the car keys. Can only be forced to start. Chu Feng, can't you just collect those people's guns? Alice asked suspiciously. She was very surprised. Since Chu Feng was able to control the metal, why didn't he just unload their weapons? I think so too. The farther away you are from me, the greater the consumption, and my mental strength is not enough. When Chu Feng heard this, he felt helpless. It's not that he doesn't want to collect the enemy's guns, nor is he incapable of collecting them. Rather, the greater the distance, the greater the use of energy affects the consumption. After a series of battles, how could he still have mental power to control such a long distance? Not to mention confiscating their guns, even bullets can't be completely avoided now. If they're going to die, fire me and keep firing. As a major, Kane had a vicious eye, and when he saw the bullet that had been missed, he actually broke the glass of the car that Chu Feng and the others hijacked for the first time. This means that although Chu Feng's ability is strange and scary, it is not omnipotent. Continued use is also unstoppable. As long as they continue to fire, it won't be long before Chu Feng and the others will be completely subdued. At that time, as long as the Chu Feng gene is studied, maybe he will also have the ability of Chu Feng. Hearing the words, the soldiers fired even harder. A large number of bullets blazed wildly, and more bullets hit the car. If it wasn't for Lao Su's lack of mental strength, I would kill you now. Seeing these people get carried away, Chu Feng was angry and aggrieved. He obviously has the strongest power in the world, but he suffers from not having the strongest mental power. It was reduced to the point of being bullied by a group of soldiers with rifles. If Magneto knew about this, it would be a joke for him to be incompetent. If he has enough mental power, he can kill these soldiers directly. Host, if you don't have mental power, you can go to the mall to buy mental power recovery potions. Just when Chu Feng felt aggrieved, the system's moving prompt sounded in his mind. There is actually a shopping mall, and there is a mental recovery potion, why didn't you say it earlier? Chu Feng was stunned when he heard the words, and the heart of scolding mother already had. This abominable system, you said, since there is a mall and recovery potions for sale, why didn't you say it earlier? Why was he so embarrassed earlier? You didn't even ask. The mechanical sound of the system sounded faintly. I love you. Chu Feng couldn't scold anymore. The system seemed to be very mechanical, just like a computer. The system wouldn't prompt him if he didn't ask. It was just when he was scolding in his heart that he mentioned that his mental power was not enough, otherwise he probably wouldn't speak. Why is he angry with a program? Chu Feng's words of scolding the system just came out, and he changed it to love it directly. At least he now knows that there is a mall. Without any hesitation, Chu Feng said silently in his heart, "Open the mall." The next moment, a shopping mall interface appeared directly in front of Chu Feng's eyes. Not to mention, there are so many items in this mall. What pistols, rifles, gatlings. What food, vegetables, soybean corn. All kinds of colds and fevers, hemostasis and anti-inflammatory drugs, etc., are available. Even the antidote for the T-virus is sold, all of which are the most needed survival materials in the end. Chu Feng, what are you doing? Alice on the side stretched out her jade hand and waved in front of Chu Feng, wondering. She couldn't see the shopping mall in front of Chu Feng, only saw the enemy outside while shooting and approaching, and she was about to come here. And Chu Feng seemed to be crazy, stretched out his fingers and waved and painted in the air in front of him. What is he doing? Mental problems, hallucinations. Don't make trouble, I'm looking for a mental recovery potion. Chu Feng was looking for a potion to restore his spiritual power, and he was not good at seeing Alice's hand blocking his vision. Mental power recovery potion. Alice was about to cry when she heard what Chu Feng said. Crazy, Chu Feng must be crazy. There was nothing in front of him, but he said that he was looking for some kind of spiritual recovery potion, which was absolutely crazy. Not only Alice, but Chad and Matt also had ugly expressions. Hey, you have to find a chance to get sick, okay? What time has it been? You actually fell ill, looking for some mental recovery potion in the air. Do you want to kill us? Shish. At the moment when Chu Feng's words came out, the mall interface seemed to hear Chu Feng's words, and even automatically turned to the interface with the mental power recovery potion. I found it. It turns out that there is a voice recognition function. I am odd. Chu Feng did not expect that this system, which looks very mechanical and not very reliable, even has a voice recognition function. Immediately found the spiritual recovery potion he needed. Voice recognition. Chu Feng, what are you doing? Crazy. They're coming. Alice originally thought that Chu Feng was very reliable, but this time she really dare not say that Chu Feng is reliable. The enemy is about to rush to this side. As a result, Chu Feng has hallucinations and forget it. What is the voice recognition function talking to himself? What the hell is he talking about? I don't understand it at all. Ding. It takes 200 points to purchase mental recovery potions. Are you sure? Buy. Without any hesitation, Chu Feng just clicked to buy. Not to mention 200 points, at this time as long as he can recover, he will give 300 points. Ding. Purchase was successful. After Chu Feng clicked to confirm the purchase, his original 850 points were immediately deducted by 200. Shish. A blue potion appeared directly in Chu Feng's hand. Ha, potion. Alice looked at the blue potion that appeared in Chu Feng's hands, her eyes widened with confusion. She originally thought that Chu Feng was crazy, but she didn't expect that in the blink of an eye, a blue potion appeared in Chu Feng's empty hands. Could it be that this is the so-called spiritual recovery potion that Chu Feng said? Ji Yu Dong. Without any hesitation, Chu Feng unscrewed the medicine and poured it into his mouth. A dose of mental power recovery potion entered his stomach, and Chu Feng only felt a warm current pouring into his mind instantly. His originally sluggish spirit was madly recovering, and he felt full of energy in the blink of an eye. Cool. Chu Feng couldn't help but let out a long breath and said. Quick, quick, they're already dead, and surround the car. At this time, the soldiers finally rushed forward and surrounded the car where Chu Feng and the others were. The dense muzzle aimed directly at Chu Feng and them. Tread. Chu Feng directly opened the car door and faced everyone around him. Surrender. You can't escape from here. Kane found that the invisible electromagnetic force field on the car disappeared, and Chu Feng, who was about to escape, had also got out of the car, overjoyed, and issued a final warning. The research value of a living Chu Feng is definitely higher than that of a dead one. Surrender. Hee hee. Chu Feng watched the corner of Kane's mouth rise. Not good. Fire, fire. Kane felt the danger, and without hesitation, ordered to continue firing. Buzz. However, Kane reacted too late. An electromagnetic force field exploded, covering the entire 100-meter radius. Those soldiers just wanted to continue to fire, but found that a huge force directly snatched the weapons in their hands. In an instant, a large number of firearms left the soldiers' hands and flew straight towards Chu Feng. With Chu Feng as the center, a circle of firearms is formed. The muzzle of the gun was directed at the surrounding soldiers. At this moment, all the soldiers had their scalps numb, exclaimed in surprise, and ran for their lives without hesitation. Da da da. However, the next moment, all the firearms began to spin wildly with Chu Feng as the center. The guns were spinning and firing. A large number of bullets were shot frantically at the surrounding soldiers. What's even more terrifying is that even the rocket launcher was controlled by Chu Feng. It's a burst of firing at the surrounding cars. More grenade fuses were lifted and flew to those cars. Boom! A large number of cars exploded wildly, killing and injuring countless people. Ding ding ding. Hundreds of guns were fired at the same time. Not only the shooting scene was spectacular, but the dropping of the shell was also exciting. A large number of bullet casings were ejected frantically as if it were raining, and fell to the ground, laying a golden carpet directly on the ground. Puff puff. Ah ah. Help. Monster. Monster. I don't want to die. The soldier who had just attacked Chu Feng's Joy finally tasted the pain of being attacked by his own weapon. One by one, the soldiers who lost their weapons were beaten by their own weapons and wanted to escape. But the bullets roared, knocking them into stoppers. Huh, didn't you say you can't disarm? How come you can suddenly do it again? Mumble, you can control the enemy's firearms to attack the enemy, or control hundreds of firearms to fire at the same time. My God, Chu Feng, you are simply too strong. I suddenly feel some sympathy for these soldiers, but they were beaten to death by their own bullets. This should be the most unfortunate way to die. Sympathy, wasn't it arrogant just now? Come on, go on, fight them fools. Good job, Chu Feng is awesome. Alice, Chad, and Matt watched Chu Feng control hundreds of firearms to fire at the same time, and they were all excited and excited. OMG, that's hundreds of soldiers. In this way, when Chu Feng said to disarm, he disarmed. That's fine, he can control hundreds of firearms to fire at the same time. This ability is simply absolute. They thought about Chu Feng's awesomeness, but it was the first time they met with such an awesomeness. It seems that every time they think that Chu Feng's ability has reached the ceiling, they can find that Chu Feng is more powerful than they thought. Kakaka. In a short time, the bullets of the hundreds of guns have been fired by Chu Feng. Seeing that there was no one standing around, Chu Feng was satisfied to get back into the car. What are you still doing? Waiting for their reinforcements. Chu Feng looked at Chad in a daze in the driver's seat and said. Ah, yes, yes. Chad was awakened by Chu Feng's words, only to realize that the car had been successfully ignited at some point. Just because the scene of Chu Feng controlling hundreds of guns to fire at the same time was too shocking, he forgot to drive. Chad stepped on the accelerator. Boom! A large amount of smoke was emitted from the rear of the car and shot directly out. Follow the road, and soon disappear into the distance. Boom! Until Chu Feng left and disappeared, a corpse on the ground suddenly moved, and then was lifted up, revealing Kane with blood on his face. It was just in danger, but fortunately the soldiers blocked the bullet for him, and Chu Feng did not come to check the body, otherwise he would be dead this time. Looking at the corpses in the surrounding area, as well as many wounded who were not completely dead, Kane took out his mobile phone with a solemn expression and made a call. The changes in the Hive are beyond our expectations. Send another team over. I want to restart the Hive, immediately. Kane's face was serious, and what Chu Feng showed just now was definitely superpower. Since Chu Feng can obtain this ability in the Hive, so can he. He had to find out what was going on inside the Hive. In front of an abandoned factory. The car stopped. The four slowly got out of the car. These four are none other than Chu Feng, Alice, Chad and Matt. Raccoon City will soon usher in a Resident Evil crisis, with zombies all over the place. What are your plans? Chu Feng spoke slowly. The origins of Resident Evil in Raccoon City are divided. Some say that the Hive restart leaked, and some say that the rats escaped and began to spread in the city. But either way, the result is the same. Raccoon City was the first city to experience a chemical crisis. Then Raccoon City was blocked, and most of the people became zombies. The Umbrella Company will start testing weapons at this time, and the consistent style of the top leaders of the Lighthouse country is to wash the ground with nuclear bombs. The city is no longer safe. I want to go home. Chad wanted to follow Chu Feng, but he also knew that his abilities were limited and his leg was injured. What he is most worried about now is that the Umbrella Company will take anger on his family because of this, and he must take refuge. What about you, Matt? Chu Feng turned to Matt and asked. I hope to go back with the T-virus of the Umbrella Company and expose their conspiracy. Hatred appeared in Matt's eyes. For this mission, his sister is dead, and he must expose the conspiracy of the Umbrella. Well, Alice, what are your plans? Chu Feng nodded, looked at Alice, and asked. I don't know, I have no family. Alice heard the words in a low voice. Everyone knew what they were going to do next, only she didn't. Chu Feng, what about you? Do you want to go back with me? We need a freedom fighter like you. Matt directly invited Chu Feng. Their organization belongs to a free organization around the world, dedicated to fighting against evil corporations like Umbrella. He believed that with Chu Feng's ability, going back with him would definitely be reused. No, I want to stay. Chu Feng directly rejected Matt's invitation. Since this is the world of Resident Evil, it is very likely that it is not the world he originally lived in. In a wave of zombies that is about to sweep the world, he needs to get stronger. And there is only one way for him to become stronger, and that is to kill zombies. In the eyes of others, the extremely dangerous Raccoon City, in his eyes, is the nutrient for his upgrade. Now in the entire Blue Star, there is no place that suits him better than here. What, didn't you say that a chemical crisis is going to break out here, and zombies are all over it? Are you still staying? When Alice, Chad, and Matt heard this, they were all dumbfounded. Most people take the initiative to stay away from danger, but when they got to Chu Feng, they took the initiative to bump into it, which really made it difficult for them to understand. I'm different from you, I can't go back. Chu Feng knew that this was not his original world, and even if he returned to Kyushu, he probably wouldn't be able to see his family. In that case, it is better to stay and become stronger. I'm staying too. Alice saw Chu Feng's gloomy appearance, thinking that Chu Feng had no family like her, and a sense of identity rose in her heart. In addition, she was homeless, so she simply decided to stay and be with Chu Feng. Of course, what she didn't know was that Chu Feng actually had a family, just not in this world. With your ability, you really don't need to be afraid of anything. Since you have decided, I will not force it. If you change your mind, you can come to me. Matt saw that Chu Feng insisted on staying, and knew that he could not persuade him. Moreover, with Chu Feng's ability, he can kill even creepers, an army can't do anything about him, and there will be no danger here, so he dispelled the idea of continuing to persuade. He directly gave Chu Feng an address and then left. Of course, Chu Feng did not let Matt take away all the viruses and antidote. He still left behind a virus and an antidote. Matt was very puzzled. Chu Feng left the antidote he understood and could prevent being bitten by zombies. But it would be strange to leave a virus behind. But he didn't ask too much. Without Chu Feng, he wouldn't be able to bring it out. After Chad said goodbye to Chu Feng, he also left. You don't have to stay. Chu Feng watched Chad and Matt disappear at the end of the street and said. He stayed to level up and become stronger, while Alice stayed for nothing but danger. Chu Feng didn't understand why Alice insisted on staying. He didn't think he had the charm to make people fall in love at first sight. He and Alice had only known each other for less than a day, and the relationship was over. To be honest, I don't know why, but I just want to stay. Alice actually doesn't know how she feels about Chu Feng. Maybe it's because of her loneliness, or maybe she really has nowhere to go. But no matter what the reason was, her sixth sense told her that the world was about to change, and it would be safer to be with Chu Feng. This mysterious sixth sense saved her when she performed tasks again and again, and she trusted her intuition. Okay, in that case, let's go and open the room. Seeing that she could not persuade Alice, Chu Feng simply stopped persuading her. Her ability is very strong, but she just hasn't awakened, so it's better to follow him. Of course, the most important thing now is that he is very tired and needs to find a hotel to repair it first, waiting for the outbreak of the zombie apocalypse. Open house. When Alice heard Chu Feng's words, she was stunned for a moment. She thought of something, and her cheeks were a little hot. Is this Chu Feng so direct? He even came up to open a room with her. Although she is not conservative, she still resists in her heart to ask her to be with someone she has only known for less than a day. What should I do? He has this demand, should I agree? No. I only met him today, how can I agree? Doesn't that make me seem very casual? Then refuse, yes, directly refuse. No way, wouldn't he be unhappy if I refused? What should I do? Do I refuse or not? Alice froze in place, as if countless thunders were intertwined in her heart was numb, and heaven and man were at war. Why are you standing still? Let's go. You want to sleep in the wilderness at night. Chu Feng walked a distance and found that Alice didn't keep up, with a puzzled look on her face. He didn't understand what was going on with Alice, he just said that he would follow him, but now he was stunned again. If they don't find a hotel to stay in, should they be allowed to sleep in the wilderness? I'll come. Alice hesitated for a long time, and finally followed up after gritting her teeth. Now that you've decided, there's nothing to worry about. Although this relationship is still a bit early, where would she go to find a second one for a hero like Chu Feng? Since he has this need, she should sacrifice it. After all, even her life was saved by Chu Feng, and it seems that it is not too much to ask for her body. Alice, who was hesitant at first, actually found a reason to convince herself after going through the storm of consciousness. Of course, if you let her know, in fact, what Chu Feng said about opening a house means literally. I really just wanted to find a place to rest and rectify. I didn't think about it too much at all, and I didn't know how she would feel. In order to avoid the umbrella company's tracking as much as possible, Chu Feng and Alice chose to take a detour and enter the old block. It was already evening, and the street lamps around were already lit. Maybe it's because it's an old neighborhood, or maybe people get off work at night, so there are very few pedestrians on the road. Chu Feng, we have no money. Alice looked at the hotel in the distance and said. She had just such a piece of clothing on her body, she didn't even have a pocket, let alone money. Alice was a little happy when she thought that she couldn't open a house without money, but she was a little tangled when she thought of living on the street without money. I think about it. Hey, isn't there an ATM over there? Let's borrow some first. Chu Feng has money, but he is not a lighthouse coin, so he doesn't have it. As for the bank card, it is not a country, and it is estimated that it does not recognize it. But it's okay. Isn't that an ATM? Just borrow some money to spend. Anyway, the end is coming, who will care about this then? Borrow money from an ATM. Alice heard the words, full of question marks. She can understand if Chu Feng wants to borrow money from a loan shark or something, but borrow money from an ATM. Do ATMs have this feature? Why doesn't she know? Chapter 31. Let's go. Chu Feng didn't hesitate and walked to the ATM first. Are you sure this ATM can borrow money? The two came to the ATM to make money, but Alice still didn't believe it. She has lived in Raccoon City for a long time, and she has never heard of the so-called lending function of ATMs. Not to mention this old city, the entire Raccoon City, even the entire Lighthouse Country, doesn't have an ATM with this function. Ah, it's a loan. Chu Feng smiled slightly and put his hand directly on the ATM. The Lighthouse Country harvests the world's leaks and transfers inflation to other countries. It shouldn't be too much for him to pick up some wool. Buzz. Chu Feng's electromagnetic force field unfolds. Boom, boom, boom. The surrounding cameras were directly pinched by Chu Feng. Kakaka. Before Alice could react, the metal parts inside the ATM began to run wildly under Chu Feng's control. The exit for withdrawing the money suddenly opened, and a piece of beacon coins came out crazily, because there were too many, too fast, and they were directly ejected on Alice's body. Oh, money, money, my God, a lot of money, enough, too much. Alice was so big, and it was the first time she had been slapped in the face by so much money, and she was still slapped in the face like a tide, and she couldn't stop her. Her mood was joyful, excited, and even more frightened. What are they doing? Robbery an ATM. This Chu Feng is too bad. But why does she feel a little excited? All want to kiss Chu Feng. Crash. Too much money came out, so much that she couldn't catch it. When the night wind blew, a large number of lighthouse coins drifted around along the wind, as if it was raining coins, not to mention how spectacular the scene was. Let's go. Chu Feng didn't want to attract attention, so he quickly pulled Alice and ran away. In fact, he didn't want to take so many. How could he be so resistant to his ability? He wanted to make the ATM turn a few times. As a result, the ATM seemed to be equipped with a nuclear-powered money-printing machine, running wildly and unable to stop. If this is discovered, it will inevitably be troublesome. Alice was also doing this kind of work for the first time. She couldn't help but be nervous, and hurriedly followed Chu Feng. God appeared. A few homeless people lying across the road saw this scene. They were dumbfounded, their mouths widened, their eyes widened, and their faces were shocked and unbelievable. This amount of money is flying to their side. This is simply a manifestation of God. Start collecting money like crazy. Mine, mine. Hoo. The two ran all the way, walked a few streets, and then stopped. He, ha ha ha. The two of them laughed when they looked at each other's embarrassed appearance. Laughing and laughing, Chu Feng found that Alice, who was laughing, was particularly moving under the streetlights. He couldn't hold back and kissed her directly. Alice didn't refuse either, closed her eyes, and the two kissed directly. Woo, doo-doo. Just then, a police car honked from the street in the distance. Obviously, in Kyushu, there are few police cars patrolling at night, but in the lighthouse country, it is very chaotic, so as soon as night falls, police cars are wandering around. Walk. Chu Feng was worried that the police car would cause trouble and had no choice but to stop the next step and drag Alice to the other side. Not long after, the two went to an ordinary hotel. Boss, open the room. Chu Feng came to the counter and said, "Want to open a house? Do you have any money? We don't charge here." The proprietress at the counter saw Chu Feng's oriental face. Her clothes were tattered and dirty, like a beggar, her brows were wrinkled lazily, and she gave Chu Feng a blank look. What kind of homeless people also come to open a house, if there is no money to lie down on the street? Boom. Seeing the sour look on the face of the proprietress, Chu Feng took out a few banknotes and smashed them on the counter. Yo, it turned out to be a guest. It's easy to say, let me register the ID card, and I'll help you open a room. The proprietress was really open to seeing money, and when she saw money, she no longer cared about Chu Feng and the others. Swept away the lazy look and became enthusiastic. We have no identification, Chu Feng said helplessly. In fact, he has it, but he can't use it. And Alice really didn't. So it's like they don't have one. No ID proof. That would be troublesome. The proprietress saw that the two had no identification, indicating that there might be a problem with the way they came, and the originally enthusiastic smile immediately sank, and her eyes showed embarrassment. Boom. Chu Feng threw Yidao money directly on the counter. Oh, no identity, no identity. Don't worry, I'll open it to you immediately. When the proprietress saw the money, her eyes lit up, and she had thrown away all the proof of identity. This man looks ordinary, his body is sloppy, his clothes are tattered, but he can't stand the money. Money can make ghosts run the mill, so much money is enough to wrap her up here. How could she let go of such a business? As for the identity thing, just kidding, this is the old city, who would come to check the identity? Even if she checked, she could have her own way to settle it. This money is like a waste of money. He hurriedly arranged a room for Chu Feng and the others. Of course, if you let her know that in a few days, the money will turn into a pile of waste paper, I don't know if she can still be so happy. I want the best room. Seeing the power of the proprietress, Alice was not polite and said directly. 1. Chu Feng next to him was stunned when he heard the words. He originally wanted to arrange 2 rooms, one for him and one for Alice. Unexpectedly, Alice opened only one room. Chu Feng wanted to remind Alice. But Alice didn't care about sharing a room with him, and offered to open a room. If he refused Alice, wouldn't she be very embarrassed? Of course, what he didn't know was that Alice actually misunderstood Chu Feng, thinking that Chu Feng was going to have a good time with her at night. This is just one room. Yes. Guaranteed to be the best here, the most spacious, the most luxurious, and you will be satisfied. The proprietress also mistakenly regarded the two as a couple, and led the way with a smile. Not long after, the three came to a private room on the top floor. This so-called elegant room is definitely incomparable with the new city. But this is the best hotel. Not only can you have a wide view from a high place, but you can also see the bustling city in the distance. How is it? Are you two still satisfied? Let me tell you, this is definitely the best house in the neighborhood. You take this place as your own, and you can call me if you need anything. The proprietress's mouth seemed to be smeared with honey, and she kept talking. That enthusiastic look, as if Chu Feng and Alice were her relatives, made Chu Feng feel very uncomfortable. Boom. Chu Feng understands that the proprietress also looks good because of the money. If she really has no money, she will be as cold as a ghost, so she was slammed out by Chu Feng before she finished speaking. Oh, look at my head, I was wrong, a couple is in a hurry to do things. The proprietress who was blasted out was a little dissatisfied at first. She was blasted out before she finished her warm words. It was too rude. However, under the influence of money, she quickly thought about it, and directly made up for Chu Feng and Alice, and went downstairs happily. Without the long-winded mouth of the proprietress, the room fell into a dead silence. Neither Chu Feng nor Alice spoke. What should I do? After playing too much, it seems that we really want to live together. But he and she have only known each other for a day. Really do it? Will it make me appear impatient? Quote. Chu Feng looked at Alice with a complicated mood. There was a war between heaven and man in his heart, although he really wanted to. But I'm afraid it's too abrupt. His original plan was to develop feelings slowly. The ghost knew that Alice was so fierce, and even opened a single room for them. Well now, they're in the same room, what's he going to do? Their relationship seems to have not reached that stage yet. What the hell is going on with Chu Feng? Why do you keep looking at me without taking the next step? Could it be that he wants me to take the initiative? But if I take the initiative, will he think I'm very casual? Quote. Alice's cheeks were hot when Chu Feng saw her. She didn't dare to look at Chu Feng, and lowered her head. However, after waiting for a long time, Chu Feng did not make the next move. What the hell? It's you who said it was opening the house. For this reason, they also robbed the ATM, and now they are all open, but Chu Feng didn't move. What does it mean? Could it be that Chu Feng wants her to take the initiative? But how could she take the initiative in this kind of thing? If she took the initiative, wouldn't it look like she was very casual? Will this destroy her image in Chu Feng's mind? What to do, active or not active? Chu Feng hesitated and tangled, and Alice was not much better, and was also engaged in a war between heaven and man. You, us. The atmosphere was really weird. Chu Feng wanted to explain, but just as he spoke, Alice also wanted to speak at the same time. Then something even weirder happened. Their continuous talk actually crashed the car. You speak first. Chu Feng played a man's demeanor and let Alice speak first. Needless to say, I understand what you mean. As for Chu Feng's words, Alice said she understood. I mean, woohoo. Chu Feng was stunned when he heard the words. Could it be that Alice understands that he wants to develop feelings first and then go further? It's great. He also feels embarrassed that the relationship between the two has not progressed to that level. I didn't expect Alice to be so understanding. However, Chu Feng hadn't had time to prepare to go out and let the proprietress open another room. Alice, who mustered up her courage, suddenly raised her head and kissed Chu Feng. Alice also gave up. Since Chu Feng needed it, she also decided to follow Chu Feng, so there was nothing to hesitate. Buzz. Chu Feng's mind roared and buzzed. It was like being bombarded by countless thunderbolts. With a look of disbelief, didn't this Alice explain him? To kiss him suddenly. Wait, I'll take a shower first. After a long time, the two separated. Alice smiled at Chu Feng, and calmly pushed the door and walked in. Why do I feel that something is wrong? Chu Feng thought that Alice understood what he meant, and she also said that she understood. But this action is completely different from what it said. If she really understood what he meant, why did Alice kiss him first and then go into the bathroom? Does she understand or not? Boom. When the bathroom door closed, the calm expression that Alice forcibly maintained instantly collapsed. She leaned directly against the door, covering her hot cheeks. Delayed for a while, what to do next? Do you want to be with him? He is so good, so strong. But I only met him on the first day. But he asked for it. Can I refuse? Of course I can refuse. No, I can't say no. No matter how long it takes, it can be reversed. Thinking of this, Alice said to Chu Feng outside the door, Chu Feng, I have no more clothes to change. You can buy some clothes for me and come back. Alice is very satisfied with her tactics of stalling for time. Maybe Chu Feng is calmer, she can take advantage of the situation and propose to date for a while before the next step. At that time, when Chu Feng proposed again, she would never refuse. Okay, hearing that, Chu Feng didn't think much, took some money, and went out directly. Thinking that he is not suitable for entering the women's clothing store, Chu Feng came to the counter and hoped that the lady boss could help buy some clothes for Alice. Don't say anything, don't worry. Don't you believe me? I will definitely satisfy you. The proprietress heard that she wanted clothes, so easy. Full of promise, she called her younger son to watch the door and went to buy it for Alice in person. Chu Feng went out, found a shop that was open at night, changed into a set of normal tight clothes, and bought an extra set before heading back. As soon as I arrived at the door of the hotel, I happened to bump into the proprietress who came back from shopping for clothes. Yo, I didn't see it. Mr. Chu Feng changed his clothes and turned out to be so handsome. I almost didn't recognize it. No wonder his girlfriend is so beautiful. The proprietress just wanted to send it to Chu Feng, but she didn't expect to meet at the door, and after Chu Feng changed her clothes, she looked so handsome. What a handsome guy. No wonder I was able to catch up with such a beautiful Alice. You misunderstood. I just met her today. Seeing that the proprietress had misunderstood, Chu Feng explained. He and Alice are not lovers, they just met today. Ah, I don't need to explain. I get it, it seems that I chose the right clothes. When the proprietress heard the words, she suddenly realized that she understood. On the first day we met, we opened a house together, and it really came out to play. If you have money, you can be self-willed, so she must have made the right choice. Chu Feng felt that the description was getting darker and darker, and in the end, he simply stopped explaining, took Alice's clothes and went upstairs. Have you bought your clothes? Hearing the door open, Alice's voice came from the bathroom. Well, I bought it. Chu Feng closed the door and said. Leave the door. Alice just took a shower and had no clothes, so it was hard to come out, so she asked Chu Feng to put her clothes on the door. It is good. Chu Feng put the bag containing Alice's clothes on the bathroom door, entered the room by himself, and lay down facing the soft bed. After fighting for a day and working for half the night, I am tired. Creak. The bathroom opened a slit, and a jade hand stretched out and took the bag of clothes in. Yeah, when I get dressed, I'll make it clear to him. Let's date for a while before the next step. Yes, that's it. After taking a bath, Alice woke up a lot and finally decided to make it clear to Chu Feng. They have known each other for a short period of time, so let's meet for a while. When Chu Feng asks again, she will never refuse. Thinking of this, Alice directly opened the bag and prepared to change into her clothes. As soon as the bag was opened, Alice was dumbfounded. Uniforms, stewardess uniforms, sailor uniforms, maid uniforms. What the hell did Chu Feng buy for her? After waiting for a long time, Alice did not come out. Chu Feng was a little puzzled. A woman is a woman, why does it take so long to wear a dress? The bored Chu Feng got up and poured himself a glass of water, just about to drink it. Squeak. The door opened, and Chu Feng raised his head subconsciously. A beautiful figure came into view. Puff. Chu Feng, who was drinking water, was choked directly, and a mouthful of tea was sprayed out. Woman, maid outfit. Looking at Alice who just came out of her clothes, Chu Feng was dumbfounded. Originally cold, beautiful, and exotic royal sister Alice. She was wearing such a cute maid outfit. Cute didn't see it, but it seemed more beautiful, well-behaved, and submissive. Coupled with Alice's angelic face, it gave Chu Feng a feeling of dreaming back to the Victorian era. Okay, does it look good? Alice said shyly when she saw Chu Feng's blank look. Okay, good looking, but Alice, why are you dressed as a maid? Chu Feng feels that today is too exciting. This Alice is not sick, why is she dressed like this? Isn't that telling him, come on? Crime. No man in this world can stand it. Don't you like this set? Then wait a minute. When Alice heard this, she thought that Chu Feng felt that the maid outfit was not suitable for her, so she ran back to the bathroom. Squeak. After a while, the door opened, and Alice put on an executive uniform and stepped out. The black silk high heels perfectly matched Alice's temperament, making her cold face even more beautiful. How about this set? It's just tight. Alice didn't expect Chu Feng to buy this kind of clothes. It seemed too tight and uncomfortable. Shangda and Shang'er are going to explode. Puff. Chu Feng's nosebleed was sprayed out directly. Okay, if you change me again, I will lose too much blood. Just tell me why you are dressed like this. Chu Feng couldn't bear it any longer and surrendered. What the hell is going on with this Alice? Can't she just wear some normal clothes? This is to kill him. Ah, didn't you make me dress like this? That's the way the clothes you bought. At this time, Alice finally realized something. It seemed she had misunderstood something. Didn't Chu Feng make her dress like this? All the clothes Chu Feng bought are like this. What if she didn't dress like this? Is this all? Chu Feng ran over and dumped the clothes bag onto the bed. Crash. The pile of clothes were all of the same type, and maid outfits were the most conservative. Lady boss. When Chu Feng saw those clothes, how could he still not understand that he was tricked by the proprietress? He just wanted her to buy some normal clothes, but he didn't expect that the proprietress could play so well. You ask the lady boss to buy this? Yeah. After listening to Chu Feng's words, Alice finally understood that she had misunderstood. Chu Feng didn't intend to play that kind of game with her at all. Screaming directly, he hid back in the bathroom. Downstairs counter. Wow, it's so loud, it looks like you're having a good time. The proprietress heard Alice's scream, showing the appearance of someone coming over, and nodded. It seems that she did not go out in vain this time, and the two guests are absolutely satisfied. The next day, Chu Feng went downstairs to buy breakfast with dark circles under his eyes. He didn't sleep well all night, and his back hurt. Mr. Chu Feng, good morning. You look like you're resting well. The proprietress looked at Chu Feng's dark circles and smiled meaningfully. It seems that the two of them had a great time last night. Do I look like I'm sleeping well? Chu Feng glared at the proprietress and went out directly. It was fine, but I was hurt by this lady boss's clothes. Seductive is seductive, and the price is that you were kicked on the sofa after admiring it, and you haven't slept well all night. After a night's rest and eating the breakfast prepared by Chu Feng, Alice's anger subsided. But still lingering anger, Alice felt a great shame in her heart. She is a female special soldier, female agent, who put on such shameful clothes for Chu Feng. It turned out that it was an oolong. Fortunately, there are no outsiders, otherwise she will feel that she will be embarrassed in the future. Alice glared at Chu Feng while eating the buns. Cough. That, Alice. Chu Feng saw Alice eating the buns he bought, as if eating his meat, feeling her scalp numb, and said, "What's wrong?" Alice was annoyed. It seems to be saying that what I say next will not satisfy me, be careful I will hammer you. Do you want superpowers? Chu Feng thought about it and said, superpowers, like you control metal, of course. Sure enough, when it came to superpowers, Alice, the Valkyrie, temporarily forgot the unhappiness of last night. As a former special soldier, special agent, she likes this kind of destructive combat skills from the genetic level. How many times she has longed to be like Chu Feng, who can control metal and control everything. It's a pity that she's just an ordinary person and can't control anything at all. Now Chu Feng actually asked her if she wanted to get superpowers. She didn't hesitate, nodded affirmatively, and looked at Chu Feng with a hopeful expression. Sure enough, it's the Valkyrie. When it comes to fighting, I forget everything. Chu Feng looked at Alice's glowing eyes and thought to himself. Controlling metal can't do it. Chu Feng did not hide his words. Can't you? Alice listened to Chu Feng's words with disappointment in her eyes. She thought that Chu Feng would allow her to control metal, but she didn't expect it, which made her a little disappointed. But killing people in the air, manipulating flames, and dodging bullets should be no problem. Just when Alice was disappointed, Chu Feng recalled the ability that Alice gained after combining with the T-virus and added. What? Killing people in the air, manipulating flames, dodging bullets. Alice really thought she was incompetent, but Chu Feng actually told her that she could kill people from the air, control the flames, and dodge bullets. Was this done by humans? Superman. With these abilities, who can beat her in this world? There should be strength enhancement, agility enhancement, physique enhancement, intelligence enhancement, combat talent enhancement, rapid healing, and idea wave. Chu Feng saw that Alice didn't seem to be satisfied with the ability she was about to acquire, thought about it, and continued. Mumble, what are you waiting for? Teach me, teach me. Alice originally thought that Chu Feng said that killing people in the air, manipulating flames, and dodging bullets was terrifying enough. As a result, Chu Feng actually told her that she could also strengthen her strength, sensitivity, constitution, intelligence, fighting talent, rapid healing, and wave of thoughts. With so many abilities, does she have to become a superwoman? As the Valkyrie Alice, whose desire to fight is engraved in her DNA, she heard that Chu Feng could give herself so many superpowers. How could she hold back? She jumped up, grabbed Chu Feng's collar and said excitedly. At this moment, the shameful thing about being tricked into wearing a maid costume last night was completely thrown out by her. Chu Feng didn't hesitate, just took out a tube of blue potion and placed it in front of Alice. Wait, isn't this the T-virus you left behind when you separated from Matt yesterday? You don't mean to infect me with the T-virus? Quote. Alice, who was still very happy, was startled when she saw what Chu Feng took out, and the corners of her mouth twitched. This is the T-virus. She had seen those people infected with the T-virus, and they all became walking dead. What does Chu Feng mean by taking this thing out? Poison her. People will die. Do you know the origin of this T-virus? Seeing that Alice didn't understand why, Chu Feng thought about it for a while and probably understood. Alice understood that the origin of the virus was after she came into contact with Angela. Now that the zombie crisis has not started in Raccoon City, Alice should not know much about this virus. Sure enough, seeing Chu Feng asking, Alice wondered, origin. Wasn't this virus developed by the Umbrella Company? What other origin? Alice was very puzzled. The reason why she became a security agent and guarded the special entrance was to protect the property of this Umbrella Company, the T-virus. Now listening to Chu Feng's meaning, the virus seems to have another origin. This made her curious. There was a Dr. Charles named Charles who had a disease that left him paralyzed in his lower extremities. And this disease will be passed on to future generations, causing her daughter Angela to also have this disease, and she can only walk on crutches since she was a child. Go ahead and she'll be paralyzed like her father. Seeing that Alice didn't understand, Chu Feng told what he knew. These things, Alice will understand when the zombies in Raccoon City break out. Since she follows him, it is not necessary to understand in advance. You mean the T-virus was developed by this Dr. Charles to treat her daughter? Alice is also a smart person. She immediately understood what Chu Feng meant when she heard the words. Yes. The T-virus regenerates dead cells and revives the dead into zombies, but it also has a role in making uncontrollable mutations in the living. However, when combined with an antiviral serum, it can make people stronger, allowing people who could not walk to walk freely. Chu Feng did not hesitate, took out another tube of antiviral serum and continued to explain. Direct infection with the T-virus will turn people into living dead, which is only the first situation they encounter in the Hive. In fact, the original intention of this T-virus research is not to turn people into living dead. It was developed by Dr. Charles, who developed it to treat his own daughter. He also succeeded. It's just that his research was quickly snatched up by the Umbrella Company. However, what they value is not the healing ability of the virus, but the military value of resurrecting the dead and making the living body stronger. As a result, the first batch of experimental zombies and creepers were researched. Wait a minute, that's not right. Even if it is used at the same time, it is only to treat the infected person. What does it have to do with superpowers? Alice's mind is very flexible, and Chu Feng's statement does not seem to be a problem. After all, the behavior of the Umbrella Company really proves that they are not good people. But this has nothing to do with superpowers. Chad and Matt were also given antiviral serum after being infected, but they didn't see any special abilities. I don't know, maybe they were infected with a mutated virus, and I infected you with the original virion. Besides, your body's genes are relatively special. When you are infected by a virion, you can use an antiviral serum at the same time to allow your cells to perfectly fuse with the virus, giving birth to superpowers that you can't imagine. Chu Feng didn't pretend to understand things he didn't know, and just said he didn't know. However, he guessed that it was because those people were infected with the mutated T-virus, and he wanted to inject Alice with a high-concentration T-virus that was not mutated. Of course, it is also related to the genetic cells of the individual body. Chu Feng remembered that after Matt was infected, the mutation could also restore human memory. And Alice's cells are even more special. They can be perfectly fused with the T-virus without even changing their appearance. Anyway, it's right to be injected at the same time. My genes are special, are you sure? Alice looked at Chu Feng as if she knew a lot, and even knew about her special genes. But the question is, why doesn't she know that her own genes are special? Could it be that Chu Feng knows her better than her? Or, Chu Feng secretly researched and tested her genes? This is terrifying. Alice's gaze towards Chu Feng immediately became alert. A man who knew her body better than herself, no matter how she thought about it, she couldn't rest assured. How do I know that you won't believe it? Let's put it this way, you treat me as someone from another parallel world, I can see your future, and you can choose whether you believe it or not. Chu Feng was helpless, put down the virus and antiviral serum, turned around and left. His relationship with Alice never got that far. It is normal for Alice to have doubts. He didn't hide it from Alice. If she believes, then inject and kill zombies with him. And it makes no sense for an Alice who is incapable of doubting him to follow him. Wait a minute, I believe you. Alice saw that Chu Feng was about to leave, struggling flashed in her eyes. Chu Feng in parallel time and space, can you see her future? Can you, Chu Feng, say anything more nonsense? How could she believe such a thing? But watching Chu Feng leave without hesitation, Alice seemed to feel that she suddenly lost something important in her heart. She had a hunch that if Chu Feng went out, he would never come back. After Tangled, Alice gritted her teeth and chose to trust Chu Feng. Without hesitation, she picked up the T-virus and antiviral serum and stuck it on her arm at the same time. Isn't it just injection of T-virus and antiviral serum? Even if Chu Feng is wrong, the big deal is that she will be infected and then treated. I don't know that medicine is useless. Anyway, Chu Feng saved her life time and time again. Even if she died, she had nothing to be afraid of, she just paid Chu Feng's life. Ah, so straightforward. Chu Feng does have the intention of leaving, and it is really not a good idea to go on the road with a woman who can't trust him. But he didn't expect Alice to be so fierce, so he stabbed her upper arm directly. When Chu Feng turned around, Alice already had 2 more 6-hole injection ports on her hand. Ah! After a while, Alice screamed and her body began to tremble and twitch. In her body, the T-virus traveled wildly along the blood vessels and spread throughout the body. The antiviral serum is also activating Alice's genes to form antibodies along the way. It can be said that her entire body's immune system is fighting fiercely against the T-virus, and the virus genes that were broken during the battle began to fuse with Alice's genes. On the doorway, the proprietress, who came down from the roof to dry her clothes, suddenly heard Alice's painful voice from Chu Feng's room, and said with a strange smile, "Are the young people now unrestrained? After playing all night, still in the daytime. Go on, be careful of kidney failure." Chu Feng picked up Alice directly and put it on the bed. Chu Feng, I feel so uncomfortable, don't leave. When Chu Feng covered the quilt and was about to leave, Alice directly grabbed Chu Feng's hand and said nervously, "Don't worry, I will always be here." Chu Feng smiled slightly, sat beside the bed, and comforted. With the constant battle between the T-virus and the antibody, Alice has more and more viral genes fused, and her body has changed more and more. During this period, she also developed a high fever. Chu Feng could only pour some water on the towel and apply it to her. Every time he was about to leave, Alice would hold Chu Feng's hand in fear and would not let go. Chu Feng was helpless and could only accompany him all the time. After staying up until the night, Alice's condition improved. Alice, who had been twitching in pain, finally stretched her eyebrows and fell asleep. I thought it was because I didn't sleep well last night, and gradually, Chu Feng got tired, squinted and fell asleep. The next morning, a ray of sunlight fell, Alice's long eyelashes fluttered a few times, and finally slowly opened. As soon as Alice opened her eyes, she looked to the side nervously. Seeing that Chu Feng was still there, he breathed a sigh of relief. But thinking that Chu Feng was sleeping beside her, her mood was complicated, sweet, and more shy. Looking at the sleeping Chu Feng, Alice's eyes rolled, and while Chu Feng was sleeping, she slowly kissed Chu Feng's forehead. Chu Feng turned over. Alice, like a frightened deer, hurried back and pretended to close her eyes. After a long time, seeing that Chu Feng did not respond, he slowly opened his beautiful eyes. This time, she stretched out her finger and gently scratched Chu Feng's nose. Shish! Chu Feng suddenly opened her eyes. Alice looked at Chu Feng's eyes and was stunned. She didn't expect that this Chu Feng had just woken up and pretended to fall asleep. So, your little actions have been discovered. Alice's face flushed at the thought of her small actions being discovered. Well, you little goblin, you dare to tease me and see how I fix you. Chu Feng said and went straight to scratch Alice's creaking nest, so that she could also taste the feeling of being played with. Hee ha ha, yeah, don't, it's so itchy, I can't take it anymore, I don't dare anymore. It seems that Alice has become more sensitive after being fortified by the virus. Just scratching for a while, she laughed until tears came out, and quickly begged for mercy. Okay, for the sake of your begging, I'll let you go for the time being. Chu Feng only let go after seeing Alice begging for mercy for a long time. Alice tidied up her clothes and pouted, I'm starving to death. Okay, I'll buy you breakfast now. Chu Feng was in a good mood, so he didn't care. He got out of bed and went out to buy breakfast. Not long after, he bought some bread and milk. Alice thinks she's starving, and sees the food she devours in complete disregard for the image of a lady. She's a beauty, she doesn't seem to be a lady. Not long after, she ate all 3 breakfasts. It was also Chu Feng who had the foresight to buy 2 more copies, otherwise it was really not enough for her to fill her stomach. Belch. After 3 breakfasts, Alice hiccuped. Looking at how much you eat, like a little pig, you should be fine. Seeing that Alice's appetite was so good, Chu Feng said that the virus was effective, so he joked. You only eat a lot, you are like a pig, go to die. Alice saw that Chu Feng even compared her to a pig, so she picked up the pillow next to it and threw it at Chu Feng. Chu Feng didn't care that he was hit by the pillow, and said with a smile, how about you, do you want to try your superpower? Okay, but how to test it? Alice was overjoyed when she heard the words, and said excitedly. Well, let's see, you can jump up and reach the ceiling first. Chu Feng thought about it and came up with the simplest high jump test. Okay, here I come. Alice was naked and stepped on the carpet, looking particularly pretty. She stood on tiptoe, stretched her fingers, and found that she was still almost 2 meters above her head. Afterwards, he jumped vigorously. Boom, ow. The 3-meter-high roof was directly hit by Alice. The whole room vibrated directly. Are you okay? Chu Feng didn't expect Alice's strengthened body to be so fierce, he just wanted her to jump up and touch the roof. The result was good, she jumped too high and hit the wall directly. Chu Feng was worried that Alice was injured, so he stepped forward to check. But I saw a big bag bulging on Alice's forehead. Woo, it's all your fault. If you don't do a good test, you have to let me jump high. It hurts me to death. Alice burst into tears in pain, looking at Chu Feng's aggrieved face. Sorry, I didn't expect you to hit the roof. Chu Feng hurriedly apologized when he heard the words. He tested it himself, and his physique improved a lot. However, he jumped up so hard that he could barely touch the roof. Yeah, I can hit the ceiling. I'm stronger. Alice was reminded by Chu Feng and finally reacted. This roof is more than 3 meters high. It's incredible that she jumped up and hit the roof. Go to the roof. Chu Feng was very interested in Alice's abilities, so he directly pulled Alice out and went upstairs. They lived on the top floor, so they got there pretty quickly. As soon as he got to the top of the building, Chu Feng took out a metal kerosene lighter, turned it on, and said to Alice, try to control the flame and see. Chu Feng knew that Alice had the ability to control the flame. When she was in the desert, she used this ability to control the fire and burn the zombie crows all over the sky. He wanted to see how Alice, who had just merged with the T-virus, was thinking. Control the flame. How to control it? Alice was dazed when she heard the words, not knowing how to control it. Chu Feng thought for a while and said, use your mind, like this. After Chu Feng said, the electromagnetic force field exploded, and the electromagnetic force field was directly controlled by the mind, and the magnetic field force was used to affect the surrounding metals. Kakaka. The metal pipes on the balcony seemed to come alive and twisted into a twist by him directly. It's amazing, I'll try it too. Seeing this, Alice seemed to have found some feeling, stared at the flame of the lighter in front of her, and began to exert herself. Alice babbled hard at the lighter for a long time, her face turning red. However, the small flame in front of him remained motionless. Ah, no, it doesn't work at all, I may not have the power of mind at all. After a long time, Alice gave up. What kind of mind power, is it a lie? She worked hard for a long time, but the little flame didn't respond at all. She wondered if Chu Feng was lying to her. First floor kitchen. Hey, what's going on with the fire in this stove today? It's been swaying, there's no wind. The proprietress was making breakfast but unexpectedly found that the flame of the stove kept shaking. With a puzzled look on her face, she was about to take a closer look. Boom! The normal fire of the furnace suddenly skyrocketed. The proprietress quickly turned off the fire, but her face was already charred. Ah! Seeing that her hair was on fire, the proprietress quickly went to the faucet to rinse it with boiling water. Seeing that the fire was finally under control, the proprietress let out a sigh of relief. Waiting to look in the mirror. Boom! The mirror shattered for unknown reasons. Squeak, squeak, ding ding ding. At the same time, all kinds of metal utensils in the kitchen began to shake wildly, and finally even violated the law of gravity and levitated. The whole kitchen fell into an eerie silence. Mumble. The proprietress opened her mouth wide, her terrified eyes widened, looked up at the counterintuitive kitchen utensils, and swallowed. The proprietress kept rubbing her eyes, thinking she was crazy, but she saw the kitchen utensils floating. How is this possible? Crash. Just when the proprietress thought she was hallucinating, all the metal objects returned to gravity and fell down. Smashed her. Ghost. The proprietress couldn't help but rush out the door. Roof. I seemed to hear the woman's screams just now. It seemed like something was said. Alice wondered. Ghost. No, you heard it wrong. How about it? Did you see my demonstration just now? Chu Feng listened intently, didn't hear any woman's screams, didn't care, and continued. Well, I'll try again. Alice didn't hear it again, thinking that she heard it wrong, so she didn't care anymore and continued to practice her mind power. An apartment room was pushed open. Da da da. A pair of high-heeled feet walked towards the bed in the room. Just by looking at this high heel, you will know that this person must be a beauty. Crack. A pair of slender jade hands casually pressed on the radio device, and there was a chaotic voice inside. Immediately afterwards, the TV screen was turned on, and many scenes of riots could be seen. All kinds of people inside went crazy and started attacking those around them. There is still no explanation for the sudden massacre that swept across the city. Bang bang bang. The host had just said a few words when gunshots came from behind him. Those people even attacked the police, which scared the host into a shiver. But this host is also dedicated. Even if the killing and death happened behind her, she still forcibly cheered up and said, atrocities and dramas seem to never end. Rescue. We need rescue now. The woman didn't care about the turmoil in the news. She sat directly on the bed, and began to gracefully take off her high heels, ready to relax. Drip. Law enforcement officers who are on vacation, come and report immediately. At this moment, a voice came from the radio. The woman, who was completely unconcerned about the turmoil, did not hesitate when she heard the last sentence. She got up immediately, grabbed the pistol and jacket, quickly put on her boots at the door, and went out immediately. Looking at the back of her uniform, you can feel her heroic appearance, and her steps are full of calmness. If Chu Feng was here at this time, he would definitely find out that this was Jill Valentine, a member of the defense force who was demoted. Jill went out, stepped directly into the police car, and started rushing to the police station. Officer, it's great that you're finally here, my house is haunted. Suddenly, a mad woman rushed out of the hotel next door and stopped the police car with a look of panic. Ghost, I think you are more like it. Jill was stunned for a moment when he heard the words, and then looked at the crazy proprietress and said with a frown. Really, the fire in my kitchen suddenly exploded. The mirror suddenly broke. Then those kitchen supplies all floated up. Officer, what I said is true, there are really ghosts. Seeing Jill's disbelief, the proprietress made gestures while explaining. A serious look. It was said that the fire was blown up, it was said that the mirror was broken, and what was even more embarrassing was that all the kitchen utensils were floating. I can't believe this kind of deceit. So Jill touched the forehead of the proprietress, then pointed to the pharmacy across the street and said, "The pharmacy is over there." After that, Jill was ready to go back to the car. As a member of the Defense Forces newly educated in science, she really does not believe in ghosts. Don't make trouble, you crazy woman, even if you say that your house breaks into a monster that bites people, it's more credible than this. Really, you can go in and see if you don't believe it. There are really ghosts, there are really ghosts. It's been more than an hour since the proprietress called the police, and she didn't know what was going on today. The phone that used to be unblocked in the past can't get through today. How could it be possible for a police officer to finally let her leave, grab Jill's clothes directly, and never let go, claiming that she was really bad? Let Jill go in and see if he lives or dies. Okay, you defend, I'll go in and see. Jill can't do anything about it. For gangsters, she is never soft with a shot, but for ordinary people, she can't do it. There is no other way, but to go in and have a look, don't delay her important business. Just inside, although Jill didn't believe in ghosts, as a member of the defense force, he still had to be vigilant. She pulled out the pistol directly and pointed to the kitchen. It's inside, it's inside. With a look of fear on the boss's face, she hid directly behind Jill, for fear that the ghost would attack her again. She was sure that the ghost definitely wanted her life, and if she hadn't escaped quickly, she would have been killed by the ghost. Squeak. The door opened, and there was nothing inside except a mess of kitchen utensils. Sure enough, saying what the hell is, it's all a lie. Jill wandered around, but found nothing, feeling that she was being tricked. This time, no matter how the proprietress explained, she ignored it, put away the gun and left. What a ghost. How is that possible? I can't even make up nonsense. In broad daylight, where did the ghost come from? Play with her. She is really in a hurry. Boom. Just as Jill forcibly left, there was a sudden explosion from the roof of the hotel, and a huge flame suddenly rose, as if there was life, and it disappeared after going upstairs for a few laps. Crack. Seeing the strange flames, Jill pulled out his pistol and rushed upstairs. This hotel is really weird. How can this fire still seem to have life? This is not scientific. Out of curiosity, Jill chose to go to the top of the building to find out. See, Chu Feng, I can control the fire, I can control the fire. Alice watched with excitement as the flames disappeared. After more than an hour of practice, she finally succeeded in using some mind power. Although it can't compare to Chu Feng's metal manipulation, she is happy to have superpowers. Well, there has been progress, and this wave will try on a larger scale. Chu Feng was very happy to see Alice's continuous improvement, and took out an oil can, ready to try a bigger wave. Okay, look at me blowing up the roof of this building. Alice was very happy to hear that, and was ready to use her mind to control the flames. Crack. Don't move, cop, put your hands up. When Alice and Chu Feng were preparing to conduct a larger experiment, Jill came out of the stairs with a pistol and said angrily, "Well, you two gangsters, in broad daylight, are you going to blow up the building? You misunderstood, we are just burning fire and playing, nothing else." Alice turned back and saw a beautiful policewoman in a blue vest slowly raising her hand. Jill. Chu Feng was stunned when he saw the person coming. Isn't this the famous Jill Valentine? This is the second female lead of Resident Evil 2. Not only is she beautiful, she is decisive, her marksmanship is precise, her actions are agile, and Chu Feng likes her the most when playing games. Didn't expect to come across it here. You know me. Jill was stunned when she heard the words. She didn't expect that an Oriental person would call out her name subconsciously. With her years of police experience, the person who can call out her name so subconsciously must be someone who is extremely familiar with her. But the problem is that she has never seen Chu Feng. How could he subconsciously call out her name? No, don't know, just heard, many people say so. Chu Feng said that he knew it almost subconsciously. After all, have you never seen a movie or played a game? The classic blue vest and short skirt of the Resident Evil 3 remake became popular when it came out. Chu Feng remembers that in the dormitory, his favorite thing to do is to change Miss Jill's clothes and model, and listening to her breathing is particularly interesting. But soon Chu Feng thought that this was the movie world and hurriedly denied it. Humph, don't think that if you are my fans, I will let you go. Jill will not let the other party leave just because the other party can recognize him. She had just heard that the two of them were going to blow up the roof of the building. Yes, it is going to blow up my hotel, so I have to arrest it. The proprietress also heard what Alice just said, and immediately turned her face ruthlessly. This woman, just like that, has no money and ignores you. Rich, you are God. Something went wrong, push it out. Changing faces is faster than flipping a book. Break up the hotel. When Chu Feng heard the words, he was stunned. When did he blow up the hotel? Why doesn't he know? You misunderstood, I was just kidding. Seeing that Alice had misunderstood, she quickly explained. She really just said it casually, and didn't really want to blow up here. If they are sent to the police station, then in their capacity, it is estimated that they will be found by the umbrella. Boom, boom, da da da. At this moment, there was a lot of explosions in the city in the distance. Chu Feng could see thick smoke everywhere, and could hear a lot of gunshots. It was really a beautiful scenery of the lighthouse country. Immediately understood, it seems that today is the day of the zombie outbreak. He is worried that he has no weapons. The police station has them. Thinking of this, Chu Feng admitted without hesitation, yes, we are going to blow up this hotel. Arrest us quickly, or we will blow up the entire block. Ha, blast the block. Alice on the side was stunned when she heard the words. They were being hunted down by the umbrella company. Shouldn't they keep a low profile at this time? What's the situation? Chu Feng is going to blow up the block. Why didn't she know about this plan? Hey, Chu Feng, what are you doing? When are we going to blow up the block? Alice asked Chu Feng in a low voice. Liar to her, look at the thick smoke over the city, today must be the day of the zombie outbreak, and we need weapons. Seeing that Alice didn't understand, Chu Feng reminded her in a low voice. To survive in the terrifying Raccoon City, he needs to kill a lot of zombies to advance. If he kills by his ability, he will die of exhaustion. If you kill with your fists, it will be even more tiring. He needs a lot of hot weapons. Is there a place with more weapons than a police station? When the Resident Evil crisis broke out, everyone in Raccoon City would have to flee, including the police station. At that time, the weapons will be all theirs. Really clever. Alice heard the words and gave Chu Feng a like. This Chu Feng is really smart, he even thought of going to the police station to get a gun. Looks like they had a blast tonight. Hey, you two, what are you mumbling about? You are not allowed to move. Jill saw that the two were whispering something in a low voice, and his eyes showed vigilance. Just about to let the two stretch out their hands. As a result, Chu Feng and Alice actually stretched out their hands obediently, coming the way we are handcuffed. Seeing Jill's cheeks twitching, what happened to this bad guy, shouldn't he resist? However, Jill believed that he was strong in martial arts, and was not afraid of the two of them resisting, so he stepped forward and carefully handcuffed Chu Feng and Alice. Chu Feng and Alice really didn't resist, and even gave her the illusion that she couldn't wait to be handcuffed. Of course, if you let her know that Chu Feng and Alice directly regarded her as an admission ticket to the police station's arsenal, I don't know how she would feel. Not long after, Chu Feng and Alice were taken into the police car and went to the Raccoon City police station. Beep beep. Hey, get out of the way. When the car didn't go much, there was a person standing staggeringly in the middle of the road on the opposite side, and directly stopped the car. Jill hastily honked the horn to let the man go. But no matter how Jill honked the horn, the dull man just wouldn't go away. So angry that Jill opened the car door and rushed forward, trying to educate the man. Jill grabbed the man by the shoulder and turned his head, revealing a bloody half of his face. Don't come here, sir, I warn you not to come here. The moment the man turned his head, Jill was shocked. It was hard to imagine how this man could survive. Instinctively, she felt that this was the thug mentioned in the news, and hurriedly drew a gun to warn her. Roar. However, how could the zombies listen to her warning? Jumped directly to Jill. Boom. Jill subconsciously shot and hit the zombie's feet directly. Ho ho ho. The zombie was beaten in the foot and continued to rush towards Jill. I warn you, don't come here. Jill warned again, but the zombie still didn't listen and continued to charge. Jill had no choice but to shoot 2 more shots in the stomach. Roar. If the average person would have died long ago, the man suddenly burst out and rushed over. Jill failed to kill the man twice in a row, stepped back in horror and happened to step on a can and fell. Roar. The zombie opened its bloody mouth and bit Jill head on. If it is bitten, it will become infected and become a zombie even if it does not die immediately. Shoot it in the head. Seeing that Jill was in critical condition, Chu Feng reminded him in the back row. Boom. Seeing that the zombie was about to bite her, Jill heard the reminder and subconsciously fired at the zombie's head. Puff. The zombie was directly headshot, and then it stopped moving and fell. Jill's back was covered in cold sweat. If she hadn't hit her head in the end, she would have been bitten by now. Ho ho ho. It's good that Jill didn't shoot. The continuous shooting immediately attracted the attention of the zombies in the surrounding streets, and rushed towards this side frantically. Jill looked at the army of zombies rushing in, feeling his scalp tingling. Without hesitation, he returned to the driver's seat decisively, stepped on the accelerator, and rushed out. There were zombies blocking the way in front of her, and she was cruel and slammed into it. The zombies moved slowly and were quickly thrown behind them. At this time, Jill asked in shock, what happened just now? I fired so many shots, but he was okay. Are the people in the whole street crazy? It's a zombie infected with a virus. There's no way to save it. Only headshots can kill them completely. Chu Feng didn't hide it, and explained. What the news said is actually true, and it spreads so fast. After almost being bitten by zombies and being chased by a large number of zombies, the smart Jill immediately made a new decision, that is, to leave Raccoon City. Squeak. Seeing that the zombies had been thrown far away, Jill stopped the car directly. You go. Jill threw the key of the handcuffs into Chu Feng's hand and said. Originally, Jill saw that Chu Feng and Alice were going to do something illegal, and naturally wanted to arrest them. But now the situation is that the zombies have completely out of control. Before long, it will affect the entire Raccoon City. Compared with the fall of Raccoon City, setting a fire can be ignored. After all, Jill also opened the car door to Chu Feng and the others. If this is an ordinary person, if he encounters such a good thing, and if he breaks the law, he can get extra kindness, and it is estimated that he will just leave. However, Chu Feng is different. After Chu Feng got the key, he threw it directly at the sewer outside the car. Bang! The handcuff key was thrown directly into the sewer by Chu Feng. Hey, what are you doing? Jill had good intentions to let Chu Feng and Alice leave, but it turned out that the guy threw the key by himself. What is he doing? Officer Jill, please stop testing our character. If we do bad things, we must accept sanctions bravely. We will never run away. Chu Feng refused sternly. Just kidding, he is going to the police station to get a gun this time. If you let him go halfway, then he has to walk. He is not stupid. Yes, Officer Jill, don't worry, we will never escape. Alice also looked righteous. Do you know what time it is? I'm not testing you. Tell the truth. I want to leave Raccoon City now. Quote. Jill was dumbfounded when she saw that the two took her kindness as a test for them. She had the urge to cry. What kind of criminal was she caught? Say they are good people. Blast the roof again. Say they are bad guys. Take the initiative to let them go. The appearance that I made a mistake, that I felt that I was wrong, and that I must accept legal sanctions, made her wonder if she had failed her studies. What's the matter? Are the prisoners now so enlightened? Chu Feng and Alice almost couldn't help laughing when they saw Jill's suspicion of life. But they are professional actors, and as long as they don't get a gun, they will never laugh. Okay, the key can't be taken out even if it falls, so let's go. I'll take you back to the police station and let my colleagues unlock it for you. Jill had no choice. First, the two prisoners were too conscious. Second, the keys were thrown away, and it was not safe to let them leave now, so I simply continued to take them back to the police station, and then asked my colleagues to unlock the keys. Boom. Jill reluctantly closed the door, stepped on the accelerator, the engine roared, and went to the police station at high speed. Not long after, Jill came to the door of the police station. Today's police station is extraordinarily lively, in and out. Jill got off the bus first, Chufeng and Alice quickly followed. In the police station, many zombies were escorted into the police station. Entering the bureau, these zombies are not honest at all, and they are still thinking of biting people. Often a few people can control a zombie. Obviously, the police here did not know that these people had become zombies, and thought they were thugs biting people everywhere. Come and help, this guy is crazy. A zombie wanted to bite and was locked by two police officers, but this guy may have been healthy before his death, and his strength was infinite. The two police officers couldn't hold him down, so they could only ask others for help. What? The zombies couldn't bite anyone, so they directly pointed at the police officer. The police officer bit his finger directly, screaming in pain. The zombie broke free, and without hesitation, bit another police officer directly. Bang! At the critical moment, the door of the police station was kicked open. Wearing a blue tube top vest and a black short skirt, Jill walked in with Chufeng and Alice heroically. Boom! Looking at the precarious situation in front of him, Jill did not hesitate, drew his gun decisively, and shot the headshot at the zombie who bit the police officer. Ah! The people around did not expect that someone would shoot in the police station, and they were shocked and squatted down. As soon as the people squatted down, those zombies who couldn't squat were exposed. Bang! Bang! Jill did not hesitate, and shot 2 headshots at the 2 zombies. What the hell? The police officers who were escorting the zombies were dumbfounded when they saw Jill's behavior. What the hell? These people are just biting people. Sin does not kill. Bang bang bang. There were a few more gunshots, and the remaining zombies were all killed by Jill one by one. This girl is so hot. She has the potential to kill zombies. Chufeng was behind Jill, and saw Jill dealing with a zombie for the first time on the road, and he also looked forward to the end. Now that he has become decisive, he can't help but admire. It's Valentine, don't shoot. Some police officers wanted to shoot back, but after seeing that it was their colleague Jill Valentine, they did not act. Valentine. When Jill's boss heard the gunshots, he rushed out of the office angrily and shouted. They are all infected and become zombies that can only eat people. In the face of the boss's censure, Jill has only one explanation, that is, these people are infected and have died. Crack. After all, Jill quickly changed the magazine. Get rid of this watch, come here. On the seat next to him, a hip-hop man was handcuffed to the seat, and a woman was handcuffed beside him. A woman who turned into a zombie. The woman kept biting him, frightening him. After changing the magazine, Jill directly shot the female zombie in the head, raised the muzzle again, and pointed at the hip-hop man. No, no, no. Don't shoot. The hip-hop man thought that Jill was going crazy and wanted to kill him together, so he quickly begged for mercy. Boom. The gunshots sounded, and the hip-hop man's handcuffs were directly interrupted by her shot. I want to leave this city. I suggest you leave too, everyone leave quickly. Jill directly reminded everyone in the police station. The people around ran away in panic. Then Jill turned to the boss and said, "Give me the handcuff key." Why do you want the key? The boss looked puzzled, didn't understand why Jill wanted the key. Doesn't she have it herself? I caught 2 arsonists outside, the keys fell down the drain, and I need the handcuffs keys to unlock them. 2 people, did you mean the 2 of them? The boss was stunned when he heard the words, and pointed to the prison cell not far away. Ha, what are you doing? Jill followed his boss's gaze and was stunned to find that Chufeng and Alice had already entered the prisoner's detention room without knowing when. The self-consciousness of these 2 prisoners is simply unprecedented, and they even locked the door themselves. Officer Jill, we are self-conscious and self-imprisonable. Chufeng looked at Jill and smiled. Just kidding, he came in and let him go without getting a weapon. Isn't this a joke? You. Jill looked at Chufeng and Alice insisting on staying, and couldn't figure it out. If you want to say what Chufeng and the others are for, they lock themselves in, isn't that just waiting to die? Chu Feng didn't have a key in this detention room, so once he got in, he couldn't get out. Those handcuffs don't even have a key. But if you want to say that Chu Feng and the others are really trying to punish themselves, that's impossible. You two just want to blow up, but it hasn't exploded yet. Kill yourself a ghost. Zombies. Zombies are here. A lot of zombies are coming from the street. Just when Jill was wondering, a police officer came in from the door with a look of anxiety and fear. Walk. Jill's boss didn't care either and left directly. The whole city has been abandoned. What can a police station have that two empty-handed people can take? In his opinion, these two are courting death, so why bother with them? So he did not hesitate and retreated decisively. Do you know that the entire city is about to fall, and no one will come to rescue you here, and you will surely die? After all, Chu Feng and Alice came here because of her, so Jill kindly reminded them. The reason why Chu Feng insisted on staying, Jill can only be attributed to wanting to use the detention room of the police station to escape the zombies and then wait for rescue. But this is impossible. The city has fallen. How can there be rescue? People outside can't wait to block the entire Raccoon City immediately. So being here is like digging your own grave. Thank you for the kindness of Officer Jill. You'd better go. If you go late, you won't have a chance to leave the city. Seeing that Jill is not a bad person, Chu Feng kindly reminded Jill. The city has been blocked, and once the infection reaches the gate of the city, there is no chance to leave the city. In the original plot, because she went a little late, there happened to be an infected person before she was checked, so the exit was directly blocked. Raccoon City is surrounded by mountains on 3 sides and has only one exit. Once it is blocked, it is impossible to go out in other directions. You still worry about yourself. Jill didn't expect that she persuaded Chu Feng to leave, but instead Chu Feng persuaded her to leave, a little speechless, frowned, picked up the key of the next detention room and threw it into the detention room. Turned around and left. The meaning is obvious, you choose to solve it yourself, and that's all she can help. Jill was the last one, so as soon as she left, the entire police station was immediately empty, and there was no one else. It looked empty. Get started. Seeing that no one was there, Chu Feng thought, and the handcuffs on his and Alice's hands automatically opened and fell to the ground. Then, Chu Feng leaned over and picked up the key on the ground, inserted it into the keyhole, and directly opened the door of the detention room. Although Chu Feng can directly use the electromagnetic force to control the metal to open, it is Jill's kindness after all, and he accepts this favor. Roar. As soon as Chu Feng got out of the detention room, a zombie staggered in with drooling saliva. Seeing Chu Feng, he suddenly rushed towards him. Chu Feng released the key in his hand. Shish. The key flew out suddenly, directly headshot the zombie. Boom. The body of the zombie slowly fell down. Ding. Congratulations to the host. Kill an ordinary zombie and get 10 points. Ho ho ho. Outside the door, more zombies smelled Chu Feng and Alice and wanted to rush in. Chu Feng waved his hand again and again, and the iron gate of the police station closed automatically. With the thought of Chu Feng, the lockhead flew over and locked the door. Alice, do you know where the general arsenal is kept? Chu Feng has been living in Kyushu and doesn't know much about the interior of the lighthouse police station. But Alice was different. She was a special forces soldier, a special agent. Having been living in Raccoon City, he should know something about the police department. I know, you come with me. Alice heard the words without hesitation, and led the way decisively. Not to mention, for this, Alice is really professional and went straight to the arsenal. So Chu Feng followed Alice all the way to see the door to open the door, see the lock and unlock it. With Chu Feng Magneto's ability, the impregnable Raccoon City police station seems to be its own backyard, and there is no difficulty at all. After all, in the eyes of ordinary people, metal construction equals safety. In Chu Feng's eyes, it is just the opposite. The more metal it is made of, the easier it is to open. It would take a lot of effort for him to actually get a plastic door. Not long after, Chu Feng and Alice came to the weapons warehouse. There are a large number of weapons in the arsenal, such as pistols, rifles, shotguns, and the shelves are directly filled. There are also a variety of bulletproof vests, wrist gloves. Just by looking at the abundance of this weapons warehouse, you can imagine how chaotic the lighthouse country is. It takes so many weapons to maintain law and order. Of course, now that the zombie apocalypse broke out, these were all theirs. Alice, take a look. Take whatever you like, don't be polite to them. Chu Feng said to Alice behind him. Anyway, these don't cost money, don't do it for nothing. Alice was excited when she heard the words, but she was not polite. She went forward and chose a police vest and gloves, then 2 daggers, 2 pistols, and a rifle before she stopped. It's not that she doesn't want to take more, but that it's good to know that the weapon is suitable. Too much is very tiring, and it will affect the amount of ammunition carried. Without ammunition, firearms are almost scrap metal. Chu Feng also stepped forward to prepare for selection. It was the first time he had seen so many hot weapons. I don't usually have weapons. He suffers. Now there are weapons. There are too many to take away, and Chu Feng is in trouble. He can take them all with his ability, but directly controlling a bunch of firearms to rampage in the streets consumes a lot of mental energy. Not worth the loss. But to go out with just 1 or 2 guns, that would be too embarrassing. As the Doomsday Magneto, if you kill zombies with a gun, that's too unreasonable. After thinking about it, Chu Feng suddenly thought of the system, so he asked in his mind, the system, is there any storage space? Yes, 500 points are required to activate. How big is it? Chu Feng asked again. The initial size is 27 cubic meters, which can be expanded later. 27 cubic meters, that is 3 meters in length, width and height, which is equivalent to a large room, enough. Chu Feng heard the system reminder, thought for a while, and felt that 27 cubic meters was enough, and more than enough. After all, this storage space is not the same as the normal space. It can be placed in suspension, and it can be stuffed in as long as there is a place. Unlike real rooms, which can only be placed on shelves, wasting a lot of space. System, open the storage space. Chu Feng did not hesitate and chose to open it directly. Ding! Congratulations to the host, the storage space has been successfully opened. You can use your mind to communicate, because the storage space has no time, the placement of items will not be affected by time. Chu Feng's words fell, and the original 660 points on the account were directly reduced by 500 points and became 160 points. Immediately afterwards, a space without the concept of time was opened directly. This space does not seem to be in this world, but Chu Feng can directly communicate with this space with his thoughts. This feeling is so mysterious. Chu Feng, grab some weapons too. Alice took her equipment and looked back to find that Chu Feng was in a daze. Without holding any weapons, she was stunned and reminded. Although Chu Feng can control metal, it also consumes mental power to control metal. Modifying the bullet trajectory is the most economical way to do it. It is good. After Chu Feng finished speaking, his mind connected to the storage space and waved at the weapon on the front shelf. Shish! A large amount of weapons and ammunition seemed to be pulled by something. Wherever Chu Feng's hand turned, the weapons floated up and disappeared into the air. Chu Feng, woo, the weapon is gone. Seeing a large number of weapons in the arsenal disappear in front of her eyes, Alice opened her small mouth and widened her beautiful eyes with shock and disbelief on her face. She even reached out and rubbed her eyes hard, thinking she was dazzled. She knows that Chu Feng can control metal, but to control metal is to control metal, and to make firearms disappear is to make firearms disappear. This is not a concept at all. Where have all those guns gone? There are too many weapons to carry, and I put them all in the storage space. Chu Feng didn't hide it, and said, "What is the storage space? Why can you hold so many weapons?" Alice looked at Chu Feng with a puzzled look. A space without time, so what goes in is what comes out. Chu Feng explained. Chu Feng, just tell me, how much Oriental mysterious ability do you have? Alice seems to understand, but one thing she understands is that Chu Feng has a lot of abilities. Every time she thought she knew enough about Chu Feng would always use new abilities. Alice is very curious, how much power does Chu Feng, a mysterious Oriental person, hide? Gone. Chu Feng did not hide it, and spoke honestly. Real. Alice has no other ability to doubt what Chu Feng said. It's gone. Chu Feng is a little helpless, how to say the truth is always unbelievable. With the 160 points in his wallet now, what can he do? Well, missing points. There is no other way but to continue killing zombies. After a while, the two returned to the gate of the police station. Ho ho ho. Bang bang bang. The wave of zombies at the gate of the police station was really persevering, and even before they left, they stood at the gate and waited for them. It seems that zombies have a deep obsession with food. I'm ready to kill the quartet. Just obtained the equipment. Alice, who is fully armed, is holding a rifle with excitement on her face. After preparing for so long, she is finally about to start killing zombies, and she can't wait to start. Wait a moment. Seeing that Alice was going to rush out to kill the zombies, Chu Feng moved smartly and stopped. This Alice kills zombies, so it won't count as his killing. If every bullet needs to be covered by his magnetic field force, it will consume too much energy, and this benefit is not worth it. This time, Chu Feng learned to be obedient, and he was not stubborn. He gave full play to the spirit of asking if he didn't understand, and asked the system in his heart, "System, how can I make the zombies killed by Alice count in my account?" Establish a team, invite Alice to join the team, all the host's income will remain unchanged, and the player's income will be 7 or 3 points between the host and the players. The system store is open to squad members. Is that cool? What are you waiting for? Build a team. Chu Feng was overjoyed when he heard this. It turns out that you can also build teams and fight. After the team is established, all the zombie points he kills are his, and the zombies killed by the team members have to pay him 70% of the rent. What does it mean? If he recruits more people, then the income will be considerable, which is equivalent to a group of people working for him. And what he paid is to open the mall. When they buy things in the mall, they should give a lot of points. It's just a worthless sale. What is he hesitating about? Naturally created directly. Ding. The team is being established. Please give the host a name for the team. The name, let's call it the Scourge team. Hearing that it was going to be named, Chu Feng thought about it, killing zombies. How can it be regarded as killing harm for the people? Then it is called God's condemnation. Heaven and earth are not benevolent, and I condemn them for God. Ding. The Scourge team is successfully established, and the host can invite comrades to join. Invite Alice to join the Scourge team. Chu Feng did not hesitate, and with a thought, he directly invited Alice. The next moment, the system prompt sounded in Alice's mind. Ding. Chu Feng invited you to join the Scourge team, do you accept it? Who is talking? Chu Feng, I just heard a strange voice saying that you invited me to join what team? Alice was startled by the voice that suddenly appeared in her mind. What's the situation? How could there be other voices in her head? Because Chu Feng was mentioned in the words, Alice asked with a puzzled face. It's okay, this is the team I created. You can join in and fight monsters to level up. Seeing Alice's suspicious look, Chu Feng explained. What? This is your ability. Didn't you just say that you don't have other abilities? Say, how many mysterious abilities do you have to hide from me? Alice was stunned when she heard the words. Chu Feng just said that she has no ability to hide, but how long has it been since then? In such a short time, Chu Feng actually created another team of Scourge. Hello. Well, you don't have the ability to hide. Cough cough. No, this time it's really gone, and this team's ability has just been discovered. Chu Feng was a little embarrassed, but he didn't lie either. Before, he really didn't know he had this ability. Alice squinted her eyes and stared at Chu Feng for a while. After making sure that Chu Feng didn't lie to herself, she agreed. This system is really amazing, there is even a mall. It turns out that you bought your spiritual recovery potion here. There is such a good mall. Why did you invite me in now? Am I so untrustworthy? After Alice joined the team, she miraculously found that she could see the shopping mall interface in front of her eyes. At this moment, she finally understood why Chu Feng clicked in the void when he was fine. He is not crazy, but is browsing the mall interface. There are all kinds of goods in the mall, and one of them is something called spiritual recovery potion. Alice recognized at a glance that it was the potion that Chu Feng drank last time. It turned out that he bought it here. This Chu Feng, who had such a good thing long ago, has never shared it with her. This is overkill. I also just acquired the ability, I'm not yet proficient, and the team function has just been discovered. Seeing Alice pouting with dissatisfaction on her face, Chu Feng explained embarrassingly. PFF'd. Just kidding. You can share such a magical system with me, I have already felt your trust. Seeing that Chu Feng was in a hurry to explain, Alice burst out laughing. Okay, you little goblin, you dare to make fun of me and see how I fix you. Yeah, ha 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 ha, despicable, it's this trick again. Ha ha ha, don't scratch, don't scratch. I was wrong. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.